A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
The following program is transcribed.
For a wash that's deep clean, sparkling clean, use Deep Cleaning Oxidol.
Oxidol is deep cleaning. Deep cleaning. Deep cleaning.
Oxidol's own Ma Perkins. Despite all the claims and counterclaims you hear today, your own freshly laundered clothes still speak louder than anything else about the wash day product you use. When you use Deep Cleaning Oxidol, what your clothes tell you will give you a pleasant surprise. You see, deep cleaning means Oxidol reaches deep down into the fibers of your clothes and washes out the gray dirt left in by the leading wash day suds, the leading shortcut suds. The women saw an amazing demonstration of this fact, and among these women was Mrs. Paul Zurich of Elmwood, Ohio. Listen to what Mrs. Zurich says.
In this washing demonstration, they used my clean clothes. At least I thought they were clean because I had just washed them with the leading suds the way you're told to. Well, then they washed those clothes over again, this time with Deep Cleaning Oxidol. You should have seen the dirty wash water come out of those clothes I thought were clean. That dirty wash water showed me Oxidol really can get out the gray dirt left in clothes by those leading shortcut suds.
Thanks, Mrs. Zurich. And ladies, here's a suggestion. Next wash day, use Deep Cleaning Oxidol and demonstrate for yourself how much dirt Oxidol can get out of your clothes. And most important of all, look at the clothes themselves. When you use Deep Cleaning Oxidol, your clothes look sparkling white and bright. Your clothes feel soft and fluffy. Clothes smell sweet, too. Yes, your clothes look clean, feel clean, smell clean, because they are clean with Deep Cleaning Oxidol. Yet, Oxidol is really safe. Deep clean clothes stay brighter, new-looking longer. So don't wash clothes with suds that leave dirt in. Get clothes deep clean, sparkling clean with Deep Cleaning Oxidol.
Oxidol is deep cleaning. Deep cleaning. Deep cleaning.
Ask your dealer for Oxidol today. And now, for Ma Perkins. Well, today, Ma's going to ask Evie and Willie a question she hates to ask. We know how Ma is reluctant to interfere in other folks' affairs. But for months now, all of us have been wishing that Ma would do some interfering about those cousins. Put a stop to their wickedness. But now, today, Ma will ask Evie and Willie about their investment with Sylvester, which Sylvester has repeatedly denied. Will Ma learn the truth about the cousins at last? Well, it's about 8:30 in the morning now, and Evie and Willie are at breakfast. But
Give me some more coffee, Evie, and could I have a fresh spoon, please? I dropped this one.
Well, there's another one right beside your plate.
Oh.
Seems like you're dropping everything this morning. First the toothbrush glass, now your spoon. Are you nervous?
Yeah, I guess I am. Golly, I've got to get this job. I've got to. Come on, give me the coffee, Evie. I don't want to be late.
Well, it isn't even 8:30 yet. Your appointment ain't till 10.
But I don't want to be late. Do you realize how many weeks it's been since I had a job? Do you realize we got precisely $60 left?
Oh.
Ouch. Gee whiz, it's hot.
Well, you heard what Cousin Sylvester said last night. Our stock will begin to move any day now. Then when it does move, profit.
Yeah. And until it does move, we can all starve to death. You know, Evie, I've been thinking it might have been the mistake of our lives, us giving every nickel we possess in the whole world to Sylvester for stock in a radium mine. What if I don't get a job? What if the stock goes down instead of up? How long is $60 going to last?
Well, if you're going to start figuring that way, you can make yourself a nervous wreck. We asked Cousin Sylvester about the stock just last night. He said it's sitting real pretty. Those were his very words, sitting pretty.
His very words were, as far as he knows, it's sitting pretty. But I notice we don't have any profits yet.
Oh, honey, you're just nervous about seeing that man in Fort William. Relax, Willie. You'll never get the job if the man thinks you're nervous.
I know. Well, I gotta relax. I gotta act like it's just one of many jobs which have been offered me.
Huh.
But I can't relax. I am nervous. I gotta get that job. I got to. Yes, and another thing. Did you understand what Cousin Sylvester said last night? I mean, about not telling anybody. Now, exactly why don't he want us to tell Ma Perkins or nobody else about our deal? Can you explain that to me?
Listen, Willie. It was Sylvester who got us this wonderful opportunity. And if Sylvester don't want us to tell strangers about it, then that's good enough for me. At least we can show Sylvester the common courtesy.
Evie, you're still convinced it's a good stock?
We asked Sylvester last night, didn't we?
Okay, Evie, okay. You're a good wife, Evie. You got, I don't know, initiative. That's it, initiative. Confidence. Me, my confidence is so shaky, I just... Holy smokes, what time is it? Oh, only 8:30.
As soon as you get a nice job, Willie, you'll feel better again. Now, wait a minute. Is there somebody in the back porch?
Huh?
Willie, look, it's Ma.
Yeah? Well, sure enough, Ma. Hi, Ma, come on in, it's open.
Now, remember what Sylvester said, Willie. If Ma's here to ask about the deal, we swore to Sylvester we wouldn't tell nobody.
Good morning, Willie. Evie. You sure you ain't busy?
It ain't locked, Ma.
Hi, Ma. Just in time to join us for a cup of coffee. Here, Ma, sit down.
Thank you, Willie, son. Oh, no, I've had my breakfast. I will sit down, though. Shirt and collar and tie, Willie? You going someplace this morning?
Oh, Willie's been offered a real fine position with a real fine company, Ma. No, it's bigger than a company. Corporation. Real fine corporation.
Oh, Willie, really? I hadn't heard. You mean you've already begun? That's where you're going this morning?
No, Ma. I just... this morning, I'm just... I got an appointment, that's all, to discuss it.
With the big boss.
Oh, well, that's fine, really. Well, I'll tell you why I'm here this morning, children. I need your help. It's real important that you should know exactly why I'm here, everything about why I'm here. So I would like to begin at the beginning as best I can and explain to you exactly what it is that I got to find out. What time is your appointment, Willie? You got a few minutes?
Sure, Ma. My appointment ain't until 10. I thought I'd leave about 9.
So you're here to find out something?
Yes, every child. Well, like I say, I best begin at the beginning. This ain't a pleasant errand. Maybe it's the least pleasant errand that I ever set myself, but it's come to such a pass where I just have to do this. Things have been happening between all of us which ain't good. Last few months, it seems like everything has gotten so bad. All them things which I hold dear, they're gone. Everything's changing. Seems like nothing is the way it used to be. You, not at the lumberyard, Willie. Over 17 years, Willie, son. Oh, I ain't here to ask you to come back if you don't want to. But 17 years can't be forgotten just overnight, you know.
I know, Ma. I know.
Oh, Willie gone. Shuffle gone. In Shuffle's case, it's more than 30 years. Practically my whole grown-up life. You so mad at me, Evie, and so mad at Shuffle. Shuffle not even living in Asheville Center, and none of us seeing each other anymore. Well, those are the things which have happened. I ain't happy about them, but when they happened, one by one, each time I couldn't see no way around. No way which I didn't try.
Is this leading up to something?
Yes, Evie, it is leading up to something. But I won't come here any more, Evie, if you're going to talk to me like that. As far as I'm concerned, I have no quarrel with you, my child. And right to this minute, I don't understand your quarrel with me. Only we're talking about something else.
Evie, you show Ma some respect here. Go ahead, Ma. You said all these bad things were leading up to something.
Yes. Well, when the cousins come here from Alaska, so poor and so frightened, all of us opened up our hearts to them. You and me and everybody, we done what we could. Like you know, I'm real fond of our cousin Benita. She's about the last person left of your pa's family. Well, now I come to the bad part. I've been told that the cousins have been taking advantage of us. All of us. I simply can't bring myself to believe it. Benita? Why, I'd trust Benita, what should I say, not just money. I'd trust her with anything, my life. But I've been told, not once, but again and again, and by somebody who I respect his character very much, I've been told that my cousins are bad people.
Shuffle. It's Shuffle who's been telling you this. He's hated the cousins from the minute they set foot in this town.
Yes, Evie dear, it is Shuffle who's been telling me. And for months now, I've been saying, like you were saying, that on this one subject of the cousins, Shuffle just ain't himself. But now something has come up which, well, if we can get at the truth of it, we'll settle the matter once and for all. Because I asked Sylvester, a week or so ago, I asked Sylvester right out. And Fay asked him. And both to me and to Fay, Sylvester said the same thing. He said no. But Shuffle says that Cousin Sylvester is lying. So here is an issue which, if we can tell where the truth is, once and for all, the whole thing will be settled. Is Shuffle right or is Shuffle wrong? Willie, Abby, are you in some kind of business deal with Sylvester? Did Sylvester lie to me? Lie to Fay? Or is it simply more of Shuffle's mistaken feelings about our cousins? Please tell me.
Gee, Ma. Look, Evie, under the circumstances, don't you think maybe we...
No, I'm sick and tired of Shuffle and his craziness and his jealousy. And personally, I'm real fond of the cousins.
Evie, did Cousin Sylvester tell me the truth? You did not turn over your savings to him?
Listen, Evie,
That's right, Ma. We did not.
All right, Evie. Thank you for telling me, Evie.
Ladies, when are clean clothes really sparkling clean? Well, only when you can see they're clean, feel they're clean, smell they're clean. And deep cleaning Oxidol gets clothes sparkling clean, reaches deep down into fibers for the grimy dirt in clothes, loosens dirt, and floats it away. You can see your clothes washed sparkling white and bright with Oxidol. You can feel the clothes are soft and fluffy. You can smell they're sweet, too. Yes, clothes look clean, feel clean, smell clean, because they are clean with deep cleaning Oxidol. So for a wash that's deep clean, sparkling clean, get deep cleaning Oxidol at your dealers now in the same familiar Oxidol package. And so Evie does what Sylvester told her to do. She lies to Mom. What's going to happen now? Well, one thing I do know. We must never underestimate Ma's wise old eyes. Ma sees more than she lets on, as we learn tomorrow. But now this is Charlie Warren inviting you to listen again tomorrow to Oxidol's own Ma Perkins, transcribed. Same time, same station. For a wash that's deep clean, sparkling clean, use deep cleaning Oxidol.
Oxidol is deep cleaning. Deep cleaning. Deep cleaning.
Pepsi-Cola, P-E-P-S-I. That's your smartest cola buy. Pepsi-Cola presents Counterspy.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy. Calling Washington.
United States Counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad.
Tonight, the case of a genuine counterfeit. Another Counterspy report to the American people. Brought to you each Tuesday and Thursday by Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi-Cola, hits the spot, 2 full glasses, that's a lot.
That's right, you heard what they said. 2 full glasses of sparkling Pepsi from one big 12-ounce bottle. You're getting an extra glassful. And what a delicious glassful. The most refreshing, delightful cola that ever tickled your taste. You can't top Pepsi's tangy flavor. And that big, big bottle saves you money, goes twice as far. Pepsi's America's big, big favorite. And America's biggest cola value. So why take less when Pepsi is best? Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember,
Why take less when Pepsi's best?
And now to Counterspy. A little over 6 weeks ago, in a small mid-European country, a man, the private secretary of a diplomat named Bornay, lay on the kitchen floor of his own apartment. His head, twisted to one side, revealed a dark bruise on one temple. And as he lay unconscious, a steady stream of gas hissed from the open jets of the stove. Gas which filled the room and swirled around the flickering pilot light of the stove.
Rudolph, my friend, what are you doing here? Waiting to see you, Mr. Bonnie. It's a pleasant surprise. Oh, come into the apartment. Thank you. I returned home from the funeral of poor Carlos. You heard of his horrible death in the gas explosion, did you not? Yes, Mr. Bonnie, I heard. Oh, tragic. And right before I am to leave for America. Oh, come. But let us not speak of that. Tell me, my friend, why are you here? This paper will explain. Huh? You see, I am to replace Carlos as your secretary. You? Giving up your position in the government? But why, my friend? Because I am your friend. And I realize your danger. Danger? To me? Mr. Borney, I don't believe the death of your secretary was the accident it seems to be. Rudolph, you think the gas explosion was... It may have been an attempt to get at you. But why? I'm a poor old man, unimportant. Would your country send you on an important mission like this if they thought that? But that is why they sent me. Since our ambassador in the United States is ill, I sail to America, arrange for the engraving of bonds for our government, and bring them back personally. Oh, merely an honor to an old man. $3 million merely an honor? The engraving of the bonds on which the future of our nation depends? Well, perhaps the fact that I avoid publicity and am not known outside our country was an added reason. A drink? Drink, sir. I warn you, Mr. Barney. Don't underestimate your own importance or your danger. Your drink, Rudolph. Thank you. The death of your secretary, the sudden illness of the ambassador in Washington, I feel it may all be a part of a dangerous plot. Good heavens. Oh, very well, if you're right, I'd better ask the government for an armed guard on my trip. Mr. Varney, I have another suggestion. What is it, Rudolph? If you know any way... My suggestion is that you and I exchange identities. That you travel as my secretary, Rudolph, and I as the envoy, Bonnie. You would take that chance? Yours is the life of value to our country. You must get those bonds through. Very well. You feel that strongly about it, Rudolph. Very well. You shall be the special envoy, Vorney, I shall be your secretary, Rudolph, on our voyage to the United States. I thought I'd find you here. Rudolph. I mean, Mr. Varney. Yes, the water churning from the propellers increases. Turbulent, dangerous, like the world we live in. So, have you had dinner?
The mess they serve on this ship under the guise of food. But, I did have an interesting dinner partner.
Another gourmet like yourself?
No. That American girl. The one we watched come aboard with the invalid in the wheelchair.
Ah, yes. The pretty redhead.
Her name's Myra Stevens, and the man in the wheelchair is her uncle. She's bringing him back to the United States for treatment.
Well, you seem to have learned a great deal about her.
Oh, precious.
If I were 20 years younger, I'd be giving you competition myself.
Well, shall we go to our cabin and finish packing? We docked early.
Very well. By the way, we are to be officially met when the ship docks.
Officially met?
A radiogram came this morning from Mr. David Harding of the American Counterspy.
Counterspy?
Yes, he's to meet us personally. His agency may take over the job of guarding me, and you won't have to worry anymore.
Please. Oh, Mr. Boyle.
Miss Stevens, what's wrong?
My uncle. He's fallen from his wheelchair, and I can't lift him back. Would you and your secretary be willing to help me? Cabin's right down here. He's trying to reach his medicine when he steps. But here, this is back here.
All right. Now, if Miss Stevens, Uncle's not on the floor. He's there on the bed. I thought that...
Good work, Myra. The old fool never knew what hit him.
That padded pipe is perfect. Not a mark on it.
They can't afford any slips, not with $3 million at stake. How about your uncle on the bed? Is he still unconscious?
Not a sound out of him since I brought him aboard. The stuff you gave him works like a charm. Who is he anyway?
Just a sailor I found in the dock. But he served his purpose. Here, give me a hand with old Bonnie.
We'll put him in the wheelchair.
Why don't we get rid of him? What are we saving him for?
I have many uses in mind for old Bonnie. Now, Myra, does a hypodermic needle bother you?
Well, if you don't needle me with it. How long will that stuff keep your men unconscious, Rudolph?
Long enough for you to get them ashore tomorrow into your apartment. That's it, keep him quiet. Now get me a blanket.
Sure. The one I wrapped around the other head.
Wrap it around, Bonnie. Now, as far as anyone knows, this is the same man you brought aboard. Your poor, invalid uncle.
While you go on posing as Warner. Pretty slick, Rudolph.
I planned it, didn't I?
One thing I don't get, though. Everyone in the United States will accept you as Vorney. Why did you have to forge a duplicate order for those bonds?
My dear, Bonnie was sent out to have $3 million worth of bonds printed. With that duplicate letter, I can have $6 million made.
6 is more than 3. So far, so good.
At the right time, I send $3 million back to my country as they expect. But for myself, I have $3 million more. Perfect bonds, genuine counterfeits, duplicates, that is, to be sold here and there around the world to my own profit.
And mine.
You'll get your share.
Okay, mastermind. How do we get rid of this sailor?
We'll wait till the deck is empty, and then send our sailor on his last sail, without the boat. Up to the rail, Myra.
Hurry up.
Now you understand what you're to do. After we toss him over, I call man overboard. Then I tell the captain I saw my secretary, Rudolph, fall over the side of the ship.
And I back you up so nobody can doubt your story. Okay, let's get it over with.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
So long, Uncle.
Mr.
Harry Peters in Counterspy Statistical Department. Please report to Mr. Harding's office at once. Report to Mr. Harding.
What's up, Mr. Harding? A job for you, Peters. Oh, I got my bulletproof vest. No, this is an easy one. I just want you to meet a ship with me in New York and then arrange for the safety of the foreign envoy who's aboard. Another throneless king? A man named Vorney. He's been sent here to arrange the printing of some bonds for his country. Why here, Dave? To cut the chances of counterfeiting. His country's economy is already shaky, and they're issuing these bonds to add to the Marshall Plan aid we're already giving them. Any counterfeits might topple the government. So we play nursemaid, huh? Well, it's vitally important to the United States to see that his government doesn't fall. These bonds may be the deciding factor. We'll fly up to New York now. The ship docks tomorrow morning. Coming, Peters? The person said Mr. Vorney went into this restaurant. What? Oh, sorry, Dave. That red-headed girl. The one who left the ship was the man in the blue shirt? Mm-hmm. Now, his foreign envoys look like that girl. We'd have even more international complications. Come on, Romeo. Mr. said Mr. Vorney was wearing a white suit. Over there, Dave. Corner table. Looks rather young, doesn't it? Judging from what I've heard of Vorney. Get the diamond stick there inside, Mr. Vorney? Ah, you must be Mr. David Hart. Well, I'm sorry we missed you when you came down the gangplank. This is my assistant, Harry Peters. Vorney. I'm very pleased to meet you both. Won't you join me? Thanks. You probably think it odd of me to eat as soon as I land. But you see, I consider myself a gourmet. Food on the boat. Well, I understand. I hope the voyage was good otherwise, though. On the contrary, Mr. Harding. It's a tragic. Oh? My secretary, Rudolph, was lost at sea. Lost? He fell overboard. Evidently an attack of dizziness. Poor Rudolph. Strange we hadn't heard of it, Mr. Harding. Well, death on the high seas, ship of foreign registry. I suppose, Mr. Peters, they would not trouble your counterspies with such a minor, though tragic accident. Oh, is everyone sure it was an accident? It was seen both by myself and another passenger. But there was no question. It was definitely an accident. Was he a close friend, Mr. Boney? Very. Well, my business in seeing you this morning, Mr. Boney, was to welcome you to our country and arrange whatever protection you desire while you're here. Protection? Mr. Harding, I have a great deal to do in your country. A great deal to see. Well, that's right. This is your first time outside your own country, isn't it? Yes. And I'd rather not have your agents tagging after me. I'm sure you understand. That's up to you, of course. If there's anything at all we can do for you, please call on us. Shall we go, Peters? Why the frown, Dave? Peters, did you notice the way Vorney was eating? He takes his food seriously. No, I mean the way he handled his silverware. He held a fork in his right hand eating, but when he wanted to cut, he changed the fork to his left. Well, don't we both do the same thing? Of course, we all do in this country. But in the one Vorney comes from, a country he's never supposed to have left before. They do it in the opposite way, keeping the fork in the left hand all the time. No, but Dave... Oh, I'll admit it's a small thing, Peters, but there are others, too. Considering the importance of his mission, we can't take any chances. So what could be wrong? I don't know yet, but I will. Peters, we're going to have to be awfully careful because of his diplomatic standing. But we're going to do a bit of checking on Mr. Vorney. You were right, Dave. Find proof of foul play in Vorney's secretary. Falling overboard at sea? Not yet. Thorndyke is checking that angle now. But I checked into recent news reports from Vorney's country, and I found that the secretary before this one also died under peculiar circumstances. Oh? A short time before Vorney sailed, he died in a mysterious gas explosion at his home. Oh. Well, certainly something very fishy about Vorney that isn't explained by his sea voyage. Wait, Dave, there's more. I found that only 3 pictures of Vorney have ever been taken. The only copies of them in the main office of their big news service are mysteriously missing from their files. Peters, this is another proof that we ought to have a better, quicker means of getting photographs of people we're interested in. If we only had some sort of miniature camera that could be issued as standard equipment for every counterspy. Well, it would certainly simplify our work, Dave. That's the question. A camera small enough to fit in the hand with a simplified foolproof mechanism. As simple as the old-style box cameras that a kid could operate. Well, why not send instructions through to Washington tonight? photo lab could begin work on it now. I'm going to do it. If we had a camera like that on this case, well, we haven't. We'll do the best we can. Now, first of all, Peters, keep on with this investigation of the high mortality rate in Vorney's secretary.
Right.
Also, I want a tail put on Vorney. Our best man, Peters. His name's Clever. Plan some men at his hotel, too.
I'll see to it, Dave.
And I want all our field officers alerted to try to locate somebody, a relative, a friend, who can identify Vorney.
Dave, the captain of the ship identified him. At least he's the same man who came aboard.
We can't pass up any chances. And I also want to know whether Vorney has ordered those bombs for his government. If so, I want delivery to him stalled until we complete our investigation.
I'll handle that myself.
No, assign J4 to it. I've got another job for you, Peters. A special job.
In just a moment, we'll return to Counterspy, brought to you by Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi-Cola, chips and spots, 2 cold glasses, that's a lot. Lots more value, lots more zest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
More and more, among fellows and girls, among mothers and dads, you hear that sane and sensible question. Why take less when Pepsi is best? No budget, no allowance ever had a better friend than tangy, sparkling Pepsi-Cola. Because one big 12-ounce Pepsi bottle gives you 2 delicious drinks. That's twice as much tangy taste, twice as much delicious Pepsi to go just twice as far. That's why more and more families say, why take less when Pepsi is best? Yes, families like yours and mine, families all over America, they're all saying, why take less when Pepsi is best?
Pepsi-Cola, chips and spots, tastes terrific when you're hot. More and better than the rest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
Today, tomorrow, always. Get America's biggest cola value. Take home a carton of 6 big Pepsi bottles. Insist on Pepsi at the store. And say Pepsi at the fountain. Say Pepsi at the stand. Say Pepsi. Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember.
Why take less when Pepsi's best?
And now, back to Counterspy. A man stands outside the door of a New York apartment hotel, looks around, then pushes the doorbell.
Rudolph, come in. What's wrong? You're frozen.
Has anything odd happened to you, Myra?
Huh?
Any repairmen trying to get in? People with the wrong apartment number, noise on the telephone?
No, nothing. Think somebody's on you?
Think Harding and his counterspies are suspicious. I told you about my lunch.
Harding didn't say.
He watched me very closely, and now I've been followed every time I leave my hotel.
Huh? And you came here?
Don't worry, I shook them off. But we must move fast.
You run away?
Give up $3 million in a year's work? No. I've already ordered the bonds. We just need a little more time.
Rudolph, suppose they dope out you're not Vorney.
Myra, darling, suppose I prove that I am. Is Vorney still safe in the next room?
Sure.
Let's go see.
Tried to wake up about an hour ago. I had to give him another hypo.
All right, but from now on, only half a shot.
Yeah, look how peaceful he is. If we cut down on the dose, he might wake up and make a lot of noise.
And keep him tied and gagged. But I'm even conscious enough to sign some papers. I want that gold cigarette case, please.
Here in the drawer. I was keeping it.
You mean you were going to steal it? I give you a chance at part of $3 million and you waste time on small change. Myra, you're still just a nightclub girl at heart.
Hey, now.
Hold his arm when I get his fingerprints all over the cigarette case.
But good luck to you. Your prints will be on it, too.
Oh, no. I coated my own fingers with collodion. I can't leave any prints.
Then what?
I read in the paper that David Harding is again in New York. I'm going to drop in and see him and just happen to leave my case. Warner's will be the only prints they'll find on.
It's pretty slick, Rudolph, even for you.
Isn't it? I just hope it's slick enough to fool the counterspy.
J4 calling, Mr. Harding. A checkup of bond engraving companies reveals that 2 separate orders have been placed by Vorney. Each order is for $3 million worth of negotiable bonds. Examination of the orders proves one letter to be a clever duplicate of the other.
Twice the original amount ordered, huh? And that's the answer to his racket. $3 million to be sold by his government and an equal amount for his own profit.
The bond companies have agreed to stall him as you requested.
Okay. Stand by for further orders. All right, Miss Ferguson. You can send Mr. Vornay in now. Come in, Mr. Vornay.
Thank you. Hope I'm not treating you so good, sir.
Fortunate work? Not at all. What can I do for you?
I something to thank you and Mr. Peters for your kindness in meeting me when I ship docked the other day.
Well, I'm sorry Mr. Peters isn't in right now. He's out on a job.
Shame. I hope to see him. Mind if I smoke, Mr. Harding?
Well, don't. You'll find some cigarettes there.
Stopper, please. I have this case with my own favorite brand.
Will you excuse me?
Sure.
Howdy, Biggie.
All done, Dave. We got into Vornay's room as soon as we left and went over it with the infrared equipment, so there won't be any traces left.
Get anything?
All the fingerprints you wanted. I'm bringing the photograph right down to be developed. One bad break, though. Vornay again shook off the man we had trailing him. No idea where he is now.
I have. Here.
Would you? Boy, if he could hear this call.
I don't think that'd be too good. I'll see you later. Sorry, Mr. Mooney.
It is my fault for taking up your time when you are busy chasing some, how do you say, international racketeers.
No, I'm glad you came. I have some news for you. We've located an old friend of yours here in the United States.
A friend?
Otto Strebling in Chicago. Used to work with you in your country. Remember him?
Oh, of course. But you shouldn't have gone.
Oh, it's no bother at all, Mr. Vornay. Anything to make your visit here a memorable one. I've arranged for Strebling to fly in from Chicago tonight. He'll land at 7.
Could someone please tell me where I can get a cab? Could any? For goodness sake, well, no one...
Stedman. Mr. Otto Stedman.
Yes, I'm Otto.
Darling, how good to see you.
But
Stay along with me. My name is Marlowe Stevens. I'm a Counterspy.
The Counterspy? For goodness
That's how you
sake.
explain. You value your life, as I said. Darling, just you come along with me. My car is right outside. Now into this house, Mr. Stedman.
All right, but why do we have to be so careful? There's no one around.
I told you, you and Vornay are both in danger.
You are taking me to my old friend, Mr. Vornay, aren't you?
Yes, he's being hidden here until we catch the foreign agents we're after. All right, get inside.
All right, you don't have to poke me with it. For goodness sake, why do you point that gun at me?
Why do people usually point guns, stupid? Now go on to the next room.
But you said you would take me to my friend.
That's just what I'm doing. He's right in here. There you are, Otto, old boy. Mr. Vornay.
Well, for goodness sake, he's all tied up in his feet.
We tried to convince him he should sign some papers. Maybe now when he sees you, he'll behave.
You are not with the Counterfeit.
Stay where you are. I may wear a search bob, but I can shoot pretty good at close range.
You lied to me.
Not entirely. In a way, I am with the Counterspy. At least my boss, Rudolph, is. Yeah, at this very minute, he's having dinner with David Harding, head of the Counterspy. Setting up a perfect alibi for himself.
Mr. Harding, when I invited you to dinner...
Well, we'll have our dinner, Mr. Vornay, but first I thought you'd like to see how we make an arrest in this country.
Of course, but...
A call I received just before we left was from my agents. They followed the girl accomplice of a certain criminal to a house here in the suburbs. This house, as a matter of fact. Yes? Come on, Mr. Vornay. I'm sure you'll be interested.
After you, Mr. Harding.
Oh, no, Mr. Vornay. After you.
Vornay, wake up. Rudolph.
Mr. Harding,
Harding? What kind of thing is it? I pick up out of here like you said.
Fool. That is not Otto. That's Harry Peters, one of Harding's men.
A Counterspy? fine.
I'll take that gun.
No, you don't.
All right, Peters, you can untie Mr. Vorney now. And as for you, Mr. Rudolph, you're under arrest.
On what charge, Mr. Harding?
The kidnapping of Mr. Vorney, forging official documents, and...
But, Mr. Harding, I'm not responsible for what this woman did.
You double-crossed jerk. You're not passing the buck to me on this. Listen, Harding, this guy's already killed 2 men, and before I'm done talking...
All right, you'll get your chance to talk. We already have all the proof we need. You see, Rudolph, your clever trick with the cigarette case didn't work. We'd already gotten your fingerprints in your apartment. You simply gave away the fact that the real envoy was here, too.
And you thought you were so slick, Master Marlowe.
He was, but not clever enough. He fell for the story that an old friend of Vorney's was coming and led my men here just as we expected.
All right, Mr. Harding. Let's get it over with. Let's go.
Certainly, Rudolph. Oh, I did promise you a dinner, didn't I? Well, you'll get it. It'll be interesting to get the opinion of a gourmet like yourself, Rudolph, on the food served in our federal prisons.
When your friends drop in, be generous, but be thrifty, too. Serve plenty of delicious Pepsi-Cola. Pepsi's big 12-ounce bottle gives you not just one sparkling glass full, but 2. Get a carton of 6 and serve 12 delicious drinks. Yes, Pepsi is America's biggest cola value. You get twice the tangy taste, twice the refreshment, twice the Pepsi. So why take less when Pepsi is best? Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember...
Pepsi-Cola, hits the spot, 2 full glasses, that's a lot. Lots more value, lot more zest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
Tune in every Tuesday and Thursday, same time, same station, to Counterspy. Listen next Tuesday for the exciting Counterspy case of the Society Swindler.
Time, said the master criminal, had to be treated just right, and time meant 2 things, money and death. Yet in the end, it was time that trapped him, for time is not the exclusive weapon of crime, but used, too, by your counterspies to catch the man I call the Society Swindler.
Case of the Society Swindler on Counterspy. Tonight's Counterspy program originated in New York, was directed by William M. Sweets, and featured Don McLaughlin and Mandel Kramer, with music by Jesse Crawford. Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production for Pepsi-Cola. Enjoy some Pepsi, ice cold tonight.
They were born at the same hour on the same day of the same parents, and they were identical in beauty and talent. Only one was deadly, but the other was not. And I couldn't tell which was which until I found a green purse, a fresh corpse, and a pair of dancing hands.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character as CBS presents The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Dancing Hands.
The telegram I found stuck in the mail slot when I got back to my office after a long and roundabout day read. Enclosed, find a $50 money order. I want you to investigate a man. A table is reserved for you at the Saddle Club where I work. Come in time for the second show at 11, important. It was signed Beth Tyler. So at 11:15, with $50 worth of inspiration behind me, I drove over the Cahuenga Freeway and out Ventura to the Saddle Club, which pretended to be Old English by showing its beams through a flagstone facade. I went in the carefully rough-hewn oak door, and even before my eyes became adjusted to the cozy lack of candle power inside, Neil Redmond, owner and operator of the place, glided toward me, sporting his genial host smile, which tonight was even more forced than usual.
How are you, Marlowe? It's been a long time. Business a pleasure, Phil.
It's always a pleasure to come to the Saddle Club, Neil. I've even got a reservation.
You know my food better than that, Marlowe.
Uh-huh.
Just don't let it get rough, will you? Come on, I'll find your table out front. I want you to see this show. A pair of twins in a twin piano act that's sensational.
Yeah?
Edie and Beth Tyler. Oh, here, how's this?
Fine.
Incidentally, Edie will be the one on the left.
Well, if they're twins, what's the difference?
Plenty. Edie may be Mrs. Redmond one of these days.
Oh.
Redmond, but you are wanted on the phone, sir.
Get the number, George, and I'll call back.
This gentleman said you would talk to him, sir. It is Mr. Paul Cedar.
All set. Oh, yeah. Excuse me, Marlowe. This is important.
Redmond reacted to the name Cedar like a punch in the nose. But I figured that was none of my business, which was more than I could say for a flabby, dull-faced character at the next table, who followed the nightclub owner all the way out of the room with a pair of watery red eyes, which he deliberately avoided turning in my direction. But at that point, an MC stepped out on the stage, and so I stopped worrying about Flabby in favor of the first look at my client.
The Saddle Club is proud to present its second show of the evening, featuring the incomparable piano stylist Edie and Beth in Dancing Hands. Here they are, ladies and gentlemen. Bring them up.
The curtains parted on the stage, set with an oversized full-length mirror, which reflected a grand piano, a black vase of yellow flowers, and a tall brunette with a wry, crisp waistline, who touched up a piled-high hairdo, put on a pair of long black gloves, checked her hemline, and sat down at the piano. And she ran through an involved arpeggio while her reflection in the mirror looked on in admiration. It was an old but cute routine, and the illusion was perfect because the Tyler twins were practically identical. I took another look at Flabby, whose face was pushed up in a nasty leer. He stood up, dropped his cigarette into his drink, and tossed a crumpled bill down on the table, just as the lights went out for the trick part of the act. On the dark stage, two pairs of purple hands danced over two glowing silver keyboards, which would have been good except that the pair of hands on the right, which belonged to Beth, suddenly stopped in midair and hit blue notes like a 9-year-old at her first recital. When the lights came up again, my client's face was as white as Middle Sea, and the Flabby character, oozing a victorious smile, was on his way to the door. Well, they wrapped it up fast after that, and Beth ran into the wings, leaving Edie to take the bow alone. The band took over in a hurry and brought things down to normal. So as couples moved down to the dance floor and George the waiter headed for my table, I sat back and waited for that message from my client.
Here you are, sir. Compliments of the house.
Oh, thanks. Any message with this?
No, sir. Just that Mr. Redman had to leave.
Oh, thanks, George. I sipped the double scotch and wondered if I should take the initiative and contact my client. When the message I'd been waiting for came, good and loud. I jumped up, shoved my way through the gaping dancers to the dressing room hallway behind the stage. A gang of club personnel was bunched in front of a door, obviously locked, labeled Edie and Beth Tyler.
Hey, it was one of the twins, wasn't it?
Hey, what's the matter?
It's one of the twins. These three. We got to get in. That door's locked.
Break it down.
But
Get out of the way.
It's Edie. It's Edie.
All right, now, wait a minute. Hold it. She's all right. Clear out and give her a chance. Come on. Outside, everybody. Beat it. That means you two. Come on. Out. Here, Miss Tyler, take it easy. You're all right now. Come on, sit down. Tell me what happened.
I don't know for sure. I was worried about Beth. I came back and didn't see her anywhere. Then I heard a noise in here. It was dark. I came in and someone grabbed me.
A man?
Yes. I don't know who it was.
Mm-hmm.
I screamed. He knocked me down. Then locked the door. Got out through the window there. Who are you?
Oh, I'm Philip Marlowe, a private detective. Your sister hired me to investigate a guy. I was to meet her here after your number and find out about it. Any idea what's up?
No. I can't imagine. But gee, Beth has been terribly upset ever since last night.
Oh? What happened last night?
Well, for one thing, my purse was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see why that should upset her. Gee, there was nothing in it but $12 and my makeup stuff.
Where's Beth now, do you know?
No. I haven't seen her since she ran off the stage. I'm not even sure she came in here.
No, she was here, all right. She dropped one of her gloves. You're still wearing both of yours. Where do you girls live? Maybe she went home.
Well, Beth has a cottage out on Hazeltine. 4179.
You don't live together? How come?
Well, gee, Mr. Marlowe, just working with Beth is hard enough. She's so sarcastic.
Okay, I'll wear my thick skin. One more thing, Miss Tyler. Do you happen to know where Neil went?
Neil's gone?
Mm-hmm.
Gee, that's funny. He always stays till the place closes. Oh, he must be coming right back.
I'll take a look. Then I'm going out to see your sister. Sarcasm at all. I spent 10 minutes questioning the help on the whereabouts of the boss and got nothing but double talk for answers. So since I was still carrying Beth's glove around with me, I dropped it in my pocket and went outside to my car. I'd opened the door and slid far enough under the wheel so I couldn't back out before I realized that the dull-faced Flab was already there on the seat. His right hand wrapped around something blunt and menacing in his sloppy jacket pocket.
You better come on in.
What are you doing in my car, blubber boy?
Don't get sassy now, mister. And the name is Sippy.
That's no improvement, and that's no answer.
All right. I saw you inside making with the big talk, so I says to myself, he's an interested party. I should look him up. Maybe we can do business together. Stay over there.
What kind of business? I'm particular about the gutters I crawl in.
It has to do with the twins inside there. You can get in touch with me later for further details. I got an angle, mister. You'll see when I leave.
Yeah? When you tried to work that angle, you got to the wrong twin in the dressing room. Do you know that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Sippy, where can I reach you?
You'll find out if you really know what's up. Don't try to follow me, though. I'll be seeing you.
When Sippy slid out of the car and beat it, I made one move after him and then stopped cold. Because lying on the seat where he'd been sitting was a green leather handbag with the name Edie etched on it. I snapped it open. It had been stripped of everything but the scent of Amia and the smudged slip of paper that read, Number 9 Arrow Motel, Lancashire Boulevard. So that was Sippy's address, and he had the stolen purse. But the why of all the commotion over 12 missing bucks was still the number one question mark. And I figured the best place for an answer to it was at Beth Tyler's. So I drove out to Hazeltine. But even before I stopped at number 4179, I heard the piano. I walked to the door and stood there a moment listening. I eased it open, slipped inside. Soft, indirect lighting accented the figure of the girl at the piano. The little waves of iridescent crimson chased themselves over the smooth satin gown as she played. Glossy blue-black hair fell to her shoulders. The side of her burning cigarette sent a single plume of smoke into the still air. Just for a moment, I found it difficult to remember that she was my client.
Oh?
You're looking better, Beth.
You're Philip Marlowe, I suppose.
Yeah. I dropped by to return your glove, among other things.
Just put it there on the table. With the other one. Where did you get it, Marlowe?
In your dressing room at the club. Your sister tangled with an unidentified man who was hiding there after you left. While we're on that, why'd you shove off so fast?
I was scared.
How'd you know I'd find you?
You're a detective. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Look, if you want to burn up your retainer playing hide and seek, it's your business. Now, who's the guy you want me to check on? The flabby one who made you blow up tonight?
Yeah, that's right.
Why?
Because I think my sweet twin sister is mixed up in something a little more serious than her usual scatterbrain escapade.
And the flabby guy is in on it because he has a green purse, right?
How did you know that?
He left it with me. Name is Sippy. He lives at the Arrow Motel, number 9. Knows something worthwhile about this business, and he's anxious to sell it. All of which puts him a hop, skip, and a jump ahead of your detective. Now tell me, why is everybody, including Neil Redmond, all wound up over one stolen purse? What's it all about, baby?
I don't know, baby. Suppose you find out and tell me.
Wouldn't have anything to do with the fact that Neil loves your sister and you love Neil, would it?
Marlowe, I hired you to investigate a man, not to pry into my personal affairs.
You'll get more for your money if you stop holding out on me.
It's my money. Besides, I'm not holding out. Believe me.
I'll try. Real hard. Well, as soon as I've got something, I'll call you.
Where are you going now? My retainer entitles me to know, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. First to the club to find Redmond and get his side of it, and then I'll probably drop in on our chum, City, at the Arrow Motel on Lancashire.
Good. I'll keep a light in the window for you.
Oh, sweet. Also keep your door locked. From the inside, baby. As I drove down the dark, winding street toward Ventura Boulevard, I caught a flash in the rearview mirror of a station wagon behind me. It looked like a tail, so I opened up. But it stayed with me. When it swung out into the left lane to pass, it suddenly cut in front of me. I jammed on the brakes, and the spotlight flashed at my eyes, and when my front wheel banged against the curb, I was already half out of the car.
Stop right where you are, fella. Don't come 1 inch closer, I'll drop you.
He switched off the spotlight, and I saw a face the texture of a doormat over an embroidered purple shirt and orange tie. He had hand-tooled, high-heeled boots on and was topped off by a 10-quart cream-colored Stetson. But the doormat face was grim, and the silver-barreled Colt pistol in his hand looked right at home.
I followed you up here from the Saddle Club. I don't know what your game is or why you're messing around and what don't concern you, but I aim to find out mighty quick, so start talking.
Okay. First, I resent being crowded off the road. Second, I resent a spotlight in my face. And third, I don't like pistols pointed at my stomach. So cool off, Jesse James. You're wasting your time and mine.
You got it wrong there, friend. Paul Cedar don't waste his time, and you're going to find that out.
Paul Cedar, huh?
Yeah.
Don't tell me you're all excited over a stolen purse with $12 in it.
$12?
Yeah.
Listen, clown, there's $30 grand missing somewhere between Redmond and me, and I'm going to get it.
30,000?
Yeah. Redmond's a high roller, and that's okay with me. But he lost it fair and square in my joint over in Nevada, and I've been holding his markers much too long. So if I have to chalk that dough off to experience, it's going to be a pretty unpleasant experience for a certain party. Get me?
Yeah, I get you. But you're shoving the wrong way, Longhorn.
Somebody's trying to make a fool out of me, bright boy, and I don't stand for that. I'm liable to shove a lot of ways, and hard. So don't get underfoot. You're sure to get stepped on. So long, dude.
In just a moment, we'll return to the second act of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. But first, tomorrow marks the anniversary of an important event in American history, the signing of the first peace treaty between the Indians and the Plymouth colonists. In commemoration of these events, CBS's Sunday night stars, Amos and Andy, will be found with a kingfish burying the hatchet deeper than ever in their hopes and dreams. And CBS's own Jack Benny will be back again tomorrow with his special guest, Van Johnson. Invite some friends over. Sit back and enjoy the Jack Benny program. You can hear Amos and Andy every Sunday on most of these same CBS network stations, and Jack Benny over them all. Now, with our star, Gerald Moore, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Dancing Hands.
When the Texan from Nevada galloped off in his trusty station wagon, I forgot all about Neil Redmond and headed instead for Sippy and his further details at the Arrow Motel on Lancashire, where Bungalow 9 turned out to be an all-alone green and white collection of clapboard that showed light, a half-open door, and nobody home to my knock. When I tried knuckles on wood again and still got only a faint echo for reply, I stepped inside. There in the center of an ivory-white throw rug and clamoring for attention like an only child at a family reunion was a wide and wet circle of red. From there, the ugly splotches that narrowed as they got farther away trailed off until, finally, in the next room, the path ended where I expected it to. The quiet form of Skippy, sprawled over an upset chair and holding his hands tight against the red on his left side. When I got to him, he was going fast.
30 grand. A lot of dough. Didn't know I was shooting that high. And the twins.
One what, Sippy?
One of them.
Did one of them do this?
He's dead, isn't he, Marlowe?
Yeah. Yeah, Redmond, he's very dead.
Oh, no, Marlowe. I only found him a few seconds before you did.
Yeah, and the rest of that run, you heard someone coming, you didn't want to be seen, so you ducked back out of sight, huh? I don't buy it, Redmond, because for one thing, it's too pat. For another, how do you explain being here in the first place? Come on, fast.
Okay, I'm here because I'm in a nasty jam.
Like what?
Like $30,000 I've got to pay in the next hour to a guy named Paul Cedar who's running out of patience in a hurry, believe me.
About that I do. I've already met the gentleman. But right now, Redmond, we're talking about Sippy.
Okay. Last night I had things to do, so I gave Edie Tyler the money for the payoff to Cedar. A couple of minutes after she stepped out of the club, somebody roughed her up and got away with a purse and the 30 grand.
You're a liar, Redmond. Edie herself told me that purse only had $12 in it. How come?
Simple like, Marlowe. In my business, you never yell copper too soon or too loud. It doesn't pay.
Mm-hmm. Now, look, for the third time, Redmond, you and Sippy, how do you figure?
I don't know. He was at the club tonight, acting funny. When he left, I got a glimpse of Edie's green purse sticking out of his topcoat pocket. Later on, I saw him run away from the car near the club, so I followed. I ended up here a couple of minutes behind him, and that Marlowe is the truth, I swear.
Which you do at the drop of a... Hey, wait a minute. Look, if you're telling the truth, I begin to get a different picture. And by that, I specifically mean a very talented but very sly dame named Beth Tyler.
Oh, no, Marlowe.
Why not? Because you love Beth's sister? Face it, Redmond, it doesn't add up any other way. Sippy here couldn't have stolen that purse from Edie. If he did, he'd have taken his dough and blow and not spent his time putting out feelers. But on the other hand, if Sippy happened to see Beth take it from Edie, empty it, and toss it away, we've got another story, right?
Ah. Because he wouldn't make a move until he knew how much she had gotten away with.
Exactly. But there he ran into trouble because he was trying to get close to Beth, and in doing that, he got mixed up and went for Edie instead, like tonight at the club.
Sure. And the dying man's words just now about one twin.
To which you can add the unpleasant fact that I personally ran off at the mouth when I was up at Beth's an hour ago. So she knew where to come for Sippy. Look, Redmond, it's got to run that way. I'm sure of it.
Well, maybe you're right, Phil, but right or wrong, I'm still in a jam. So if you don't have any objections, I'm going back to my club now for a last try at raising that money again before Cedar shows.
You mean you're going to face him, Neil, with or without it?
I've got a Marlowe. You see, I own a fast club, all right, and I gamble a lot, too. But I don't welch on my markers, no more than I knock over flappy little guys. You know what I mean, Phil?
I think so. But don't fold now, Neil, because I might still be lucky enough to catch up to Beth Tyler and your money both before your time runs out. And right now that means fast to a phone and a call to Edie, who might know which way a runaway twin would head. I'll see you, Neil. The nearest phone was at an all-night mobile gas station a block away. As I dialed Edie's number, a thought hit me. Maybe Beth wouldn't head anywhere. Maybe she'd just stick around.
Hello?
Edie, this is Marlowe. Seen anything of Beth?
No, I haven't. But why? What is it, Marlowe?
Well, from where I stand, two things. First, your sister has the $30,000 and $12 that was in your purse last night.
Oh?
And second, she's just about it for a sloppy around the edges murder.
Oh.
Now, look, have you any idea where Beth would head if she had to get out of town in a hurry?
No, I don't, Marlowe.
Oh, well, maybe somebody up around her place does. I'll call you later.
Marlowe, wait. Are you sold on this? I mean, about the things you said Beth did?
Just about, Edie. But for your sake, let's hope I'm wrong. All the way, honey. Goodbye. Driving fast back toward Beth's place on Hazeltine still left me enough time to think about a not-too-small detail that I'd completely overlooked. Thanks to me, the entire Los Angeles Police Department knew nothing about what was going on in and around the Saddle Club. 5 minutes later, when I'd parked away from the dock and obviously deserted number 4179, I'd walked back and around to a pair of uncurtained French doors at the side. I knew that oversight is what is generally called a blunder. But the next second, I knew it was nothing compared to the one I was making currently.
If you so much as turn your head again, Marlowe, I'll kill you.
Not like you did Sippy, please, Beth. I'd hate to go that way.
Sippy was a mistake, Marlowe, believe me. I was rushed.
So you shot and ran, huh?
Yes. But I didn't run too far, because from where I stood, I could hear and see both you and Redmond and talking the whole thing over.
And when you knew that we'd caught on to your act, you decided to follow me and see where I was going before you made your next move. Is that it?
Exactly. Now get inside. Go on, the door's unlocked. All right. Now get over there, near that closet, and don't turn around.
Why not? Afraid of the look on my face when you shoot?
Shut up, Marlowe. And stop being brave. Because unless I have to, I'm not going to kill you. After all, you've already served your purpose.
Which I presume was getting mixed up in this mess just long enough to find out about Sippy for you.
You presume correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you talk too much. Now open that closet and get inside.
All right.
Go on.
As you say. But first, baby, one question. Did you do all this for the $30,000 alone? Or does it tie in with Neil Redmond and the way he feels about your sister Edie?
It's a little bit of each, Marlowe. But as I said, you talk too much. So get in there and shut up.
Getting out of Beth Taylor's half-inch thick oak closet was like arguing with an umpire. You couldn't be subtle. So 20 tiring minutes went by, and the heels on both my feet were numb before the paneling finally gave in, and I was out and over to the telephone to put in a call to the police. It should have been made a long time ago. But then, even as I was halfway through dialing the numbers, I saw something on an end table nearby that made me slowly change my mind. It was the 2 black gloves that Beth wore in the Dancing Hands Act. And while I stared at them like they were alive and beckoning, I thought hard for what must have been a full minute. And then suddenly I knew that my next stop had to be the Saddle Club. As I parked at the Saddle Club, I saw light drifting out of Neil's office, which was something I had expected. Inside, I moved along a dark hall toward what I knew would be the trio of Neil Redmond, the Nevada Texan, and Eddie Tyler.
All right, Redmond.
The raucous voice of Paul Cedar was anything but happy.
How stupid you think I am. That's Cedar, I'm telling the truth. Edie had the 30 grand, but somebody got it from her when she was on her way to you. That's a stinking line. You know it, Redmond. You never had the money. This whole thing's been a frame to stall me. And one way or another, I'm going to get you to admit that.
Oh, you're not, Cedar. And if you don't drop that gun now, you're never going to do anything ever. Come on, let it go. All right. Now sit down and shut up and listen hard because Redmond's telling you the truth.
What? Marlowe, you know where the money is?
That's right. And I also know who took it. Less than an hour ago, a little after I called you, Edie, Beth caught up to me and confessed the whole shebang, exactly as we figured it, Neil.
You mean she admitted getting the money from Edie and using you to locate Sippy?
That's right. But there's only one drawback to everything she admitted. None of it's true.
What do you mean, Marlowe?
I mean, Cedar, that Beth Tyler didn't steal your money from Edie here any more than she killed Sippy. I also mean that as far as I can tell, Beth Tyler was nothing more than a girl who played the piano and got upset when a stranger named Sippy started to bother her. And I never saw the real Beth Tyler after she ran away from a piano in the club tonight. That she's dead and that you, Edie, have been posing as Beth all night because, 1, you yourself stole Neil's money, and 2, you murdered your sister as well.
No!
Yes, Edie, come on, admit it. It's true.
No, it isn't. I guess it isn't that, Marlowe.
And Beth's body?
In our dressing room. In the closet. I didn't want to kill her. But she found out that I had only pretended to be robbed when there was no one around. That Sippy had seen me scream and get rid of the purse myself.
Sippy, who was only trying to muscle in on a deal, went to her by mistake, huh?
Yes. That's how she knew what I'd done. When she confronted me in the dressing room just before you came in and said that she wouldn't stand by and let me do a thing like that to Neil, I lost my temper.
You killed her, Edie.
Yes, I did, Neil. And when Marlowe showed up after her scream, I said that someone had attacked me. And then I pretended to be both Beth and myself from there on to get out of the whole thing. And I almost did. But now I'm so sorry. Oh, no.
A couple of bad hours went by before the police had everybody's story, and Paul Cedar and the 30,000 was gone from Nevada, and Edie was gone for good. That left just Neil Redmond and me alone and standing near the main bar in the club. Neil was doing his best to stay all in one piece.
Well, Marlowe, it's been a tough night for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, but a tough one for you, Neil. What with Cedar and the money and...
The girls, Marlowe?
Yeah.
At least it came out right before the cowboy got too tough, thanks to you. So tell me, Phil, how'd you know that Beth was dead and that Edie was both people all along?
That was a couple of gloves, Neil, the ones they wore in that Dancing Hands Act. You see, when I first met Edie in the dressing room, she was wearing hers, and one of Beth's was on the floor. Hey, pour me one, will you?
Yeah.
Okay. I took it, and later when I met what I thought was Beth, I returned it, and she put it with what we both thought was its mate.
Yeah.
Thanks. But a little while ago, when I got close to the gloves again, I saw that couldn't be, that they were both for the left hand, Neil.
Ah. Then when Edie went to Beth's place to pass herself off as her sister, who she had already killed, she was smart enough to know that she should have only one glove around.
Yeah, but not smart enough to think about which glove it should be. From there, I worked backwards.
Until you got to the three of us at the club and tried what you knew might be the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were right, Phil, all the way.
Yeah, but I was still gambling. If I had been wrong, Neil, I was giving the real Beth a long head start.
It's always that way when you gamble, Phil. I know. Sometimes you pick right, sometimes wrong. Cards, dice. Even with twins. Good night, fella.
When I finally got to my car, started out of the valley and back toward Hollywood. It was better than 8 o'clock in the morning. And here and there as I drove, I saw people who I'd never heard of and who'd never heard of me, stumbling outside after their morning papers. And I got to wondering what they were going to think when they read about a girl who had killed both her twin sister in a nightclub and a flabby guy in a motel who wasn't much good. Oh, well, it was hard to say. And for myself, I was too tired to think. Or maybe I just didn't want to.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, star Gerald Moore, and are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Vivi Janis, Lou Krugman, Ed Begley, Paul Frees, and Bert Holland. The special music is by Richard O'Runt. Be sure and be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
When it started, it was simple. Just a lawsuit for damages. But before it was over, it was far from simple, and the damages were murder. All because of a red-headed woman, a ghostwriter with ambition and a match that burned with a bright green flame.
With part of its star-studded Sunday nights devoted to shows named after great personalities such as Jack Benny, Lum and Abner, and Amos and Andy, CBS also goes to famous fiction for one of the brightest, most dramatic of its Sunday galaxy, The Adventures of Sam Spade. Created by the master hand of Dashiell Hammett, Sam Spade cuts a new and deadly caper with mystery, murder, and adventure on most of these same CBS network stations every Sunday. Join him tomorrow night. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Now, stay tuned for Gangbusters, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Does not pay.
So there you have it, Christy, old man. Simple, neat, and extremely profitable.
I still don't see how we'll get any cash out of it if the sucker holds the money.
I dislike that word, Christy. It betrays a contempt for humanity. Anyone operating as we shall must never be contemptuous of the victims. Such an attitude leads to mistakes.
Oh, sorry, Professor. Let's see what you mean.
As for the cash, leave that to me. I have, shall we say, sticky fingers, particularly where money is concerned. All you have to do is to follow instructions. Report to me regularly, and above all, be the perfect purveyor of edibles. In other words, the complete grocery storekeeper.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you'll hear The Professor Pulls a Switch, starring John Loder. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring John Loder as Professor Carter Forsyth in The Professor Pulls a Switch. Of all the kinds and types of crime which occur each day, perhaps the type most worthy of our absolute contempt is that which preys upon the hopes and ambitions of hard-working, plain people. Such crimes the province of a smooth, apparently well-educated party known at the time of this story as Professor Carter Forsyth. The professor looked and dressed his part. He knew and used the proper lingo. And the professor had quite an operation, as he explained it in his headquarters to Al Christie.
This is my active file, Christie. As you can see, I do not confine my operations to one district at a time.
You really got it set up, Professor.
I'm rather proud of it. Here I sit at the center, and throughout the city more than a dozen men are working for me. But since all of them achieve a more than fair profit, I have no experience with the kind of internal quarreling that unfortunately occurs in widespread organizations.
And all of them are grocery stores. Always grocery stores, Professor?
All people must eat. Therefore, the well-run grocery attracts the patronage of almost everyone in a given neighborhood from time to time. Gradually, the regular customers begin to gossip with the storekeeper. Much can be learned that way, and much money can eventually be garnered. Of course, the original purchase price of the store must be added to the investment of time and skill, but it pays off, Christie, it pays off.
You sure talk a lot, Professor, but you get to the point after a while.
Yes, don't I? And the point at the moment is that I have an excellent location for you. This is the file on that store. You'll come to me with excellent references, even though you are having a hard time. I am particularly pleased that your wife is urging you to give up petty rackets and settle in some decent business. She need know nothing of the true nature of our operation, and both she and the children will give you an excellent front.
Now, so far, you're making a lot of sense. Now what?
You will be the owner of this store. You will conduct your business properly and honestly. You will strike up friendships. You will learn who is the wealthiest person in the neighborhood, and you will concentrate on him. At the proper moment, you will advise me, and I will visit you while you are entertaining your new friend with choice wine and other delicacies. I will deign to offer to help your friend at a price. After that,
we take him, and it'll be months before he knows the difference.
So there you have it, Christie, old man. Simple, neat, and extremely profitable.
Mrs. Lanza, it's a pleasure to wait on a customer like you.
Oh, I buy such a little, Mr. Christie. It's hardly worth your time and attention.
Well, I can't say if all our customers were like you, my wife and I would be very happy.
You mean customers can give you trouble?
Can they give trouble? I shouldn't say this, but take that Mrs. Pingatore.
Oh, that one, I know her. Her husband, he has a few dollars. She owes the world.
I see you know her. Nothing is ever right. The brand she wants, I don't carry. I give her the best. Never good enough. Complaints, complaints, complaints.
Why she puts on airs, huh? My Mio, he can buy and sell her Nicholas 3 times over.
Is that so? Well, now, who would have thought it?
Oh, we have saved, Mr. Christie. We cut a corner here, we put a little away there. Oh, yes, we have saved. But we do not change our habits.
I see. You know, Mrs. Lanza, I'd like to meet your husband sometime.
Why not? I think he will like you. Maybe we spend an evening together, huh?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, Al, I was wondering... Oh, Mrs. Lanza, how are you? Oh, just fine, Mrs. Christie. I was just saying with your husband, we maybe spend the evening together sometime, huh?
Yeah, I was thinking, Bertha, that bottle of Oviedo we've been saving.
Oh, why not? Well, I'd like that, Mrs. Lanza. We have so few friends here since we moved.
Oh, the friends will come. We have not been here so very long. You'll see. The friends will come. And we'll get together soon, yes?
Yes?
Professor?
That is correct.
This is Al Christie, Professor. Progress report.
Excellent. Proceed.
That Lanza family I told you about, Neo and Anna Lanza?
Yes, you told me.
They're ripe for picking.
Very good. Then you are friendly.
Yeah, bosom pals.
And your wife?
The old lady thinks I'm really going straight. She's loving it. Even wants to join the Parent Teachers Association.
Fine, fine. Now, when is your next meeting with the Lanzas?
Tonight. Wine, chestnuts, talk, a cinch. I got his wife to speak up, Professor. They got about $7,000 in the savings bank.
I shall be there this evening, Christie. You may count on it.
More wine, Mio?
Why not? It's excellent, excellent.
A man who sells the best groceries, he likes the best of everything, no?
Well, that's a new quality in my husband, I must say.
Oh, excuse me, the door. Help yourselves, folks. That's what the bottle is there.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Christie.
He's a fine man, your husband, and a good judge of wine.
Oh, thank you. Just like you don't know, Mr. Christie. Every woman knows the ability of her man.
Oh, here's a real surprise. May I present my wife and Mr. and Mrs. Lanza, Professor Forsyth.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Oh, now, please don't let me disturb you. I was in the neighborhood, and as I have some news for Mr. Christie, I thought telling it in person would be pleasanter than by telephone.
Oh, you mean about Billy? You remember, Bertha? I told you the professor was trying to pull a few wires, get him a job?
Oh, yes, of course. I recognize the name. Oh, please sit down, Professor.
Thank you, I will for a moment.
A glass of wine, sir?
It's excellent. You take my word, huh?
Please do, sir. And a cookie?
Thank you again. Your health, ladies and gentlemen, and success to Cousin Bill in his new job.
Oh, you got it for him. Thanks a million, Professor.
No trouble at all. The job opened up. My connection advised me the proper payments were made at once, and on Monday, Bill starts at $8,000 a year.
Yeah, you hear that, Bertha? $1,000 a year.
Well, I'm satisfied with what we've got now.
Such a salary. Oh, much money could be saved.
Oh, sure, that is so. You know, I would... Oh, no, it's too much to ask.
Ask away. Me or the professor won't mind.
Why, of course not, Mr. Lanza. As Alfred said, ask away.
Well, it would be possible... that another such a job might open up?
Well, such things are always possible. One never knows. Sometimes it occurs within a few days. Other times it takes months.
And, please, what is the work?
Well, Cousin Bill is an inspector in the sanitation department.
Oh, that needs a special training.
Well, not that job. There are others, not only in the city government. May I ask what you do, Mr. Lanza?
Oh, sure. I manage a big shoe place. It's called the Cobbler Shop. It's in a big building downtown.
Then you are experienced in management.
Sure, that's right.
And you make by the year?
Anna, how much is $70 each week?
It's about $3,500 a year.
Oh, yes.
But surely, Mr. Lanza, a man of your obvious abilities is worth more, much more.
Bigger jobs are hard to find.
That's right.
Oh, but the professor could do it, couldn't you, Professor?
Perhaps. It may take time, but it might be done. I have connections in many fields.
And this would cost...
Oh, for a job in the bracket we have in mind, the fees run high, usually in 4 figures. Around $5,000.
Anna, what do you say?
Maybe I do not know. As you wish, Mio.
Let us try, eh? Is it not always necessary for accepting the job? Yes, Professor?
Oh, not always.
All right. You will try for me. Eh?
Oh, for a friend of Alfred's, I'm always happy to try. And it has been my experience that a friend is very often closer than a cousin.
Yes, in this case, you're absolutely right.
Very well, then. Of course, there are certain formalities.
For instance, what?
The money, in cash, $100 bills, must be handy and must be prepared in a certain way.
Why?
So that the paymaster, so-called, can accomplish his distribution with the least possible difficulty.
Oh, I get it. Under-the-counter stuff.
Correct. Therefore, it is necessary that I check the wrapping of the cash.
All right. You tell me. I get it. I show it to you.
Very well. But let the details go for now. This is a social gathering. Shall we drink to a successful conclusion of this little arrangement?
Honest, Professor, when you told him about the brown paper and the string, I almost died. You sure played him pretty.
Experience, Christy, experience. Do you think Lanza's impressed with me?
Oh, with the cape and the cane and the black hat, you're a professor to the hilt. At least the way Mio Lanza believes a professor is.
Excellent, excellent. The choice of costume is important. Here it comes, Christy. Follow my lead. Oh, Mr. Lanza, we'd almost given you up.
Yeah, sure. I come as fast as I can. Here, you see. Here's your $5,000. All in a $100 bill. And I wrapped it carefully in the brown paper once around. That's all right, eh?
Perfect, Mr. Lanza.
You want to count it, eh? I open it.
Oh, as one gentleman to another, I trust you, Mr. Lanza. I wished only to be certain the package was properly prepared. Oh, 1,000 pardons, my cape on the counter.
Oh, that's all right.
There we are, your package, sir.
Hey, you don't want to haul it yourself.
Oh, why should I?
Well, I mean, but for the bride.
Oh, a harsh word that. We'll overlook it. No, you will keep the money until I call for it.
Maybe Alfred, he hold it, huh?
Me? Why? The professor trusts you, Mio.
Well, all right, if you say so, it's all right. Like this, in the packages are going to stay until you call it.
Excellent. And now perhaps you would like to put it in a safe place at home.
Sure, it's a lot of money. You know, I work a long time to save this money. Now I'm going to invest it in a fine job. Thank you, Alfred. Thank you, Professor. I'm going to have it ready all the time so that when you call me, you know. Goodbye.
Yep. Now what, Professor?
Open this package, Christy.
Huh? Oh, yeah, sure.
Hey, Professor, this is Mio's dough, and he has cut newspapers wrapped exactly like this. When my cake fell on the counter, remember?
Oh, that's dope. The poor old dope sitting on a package of newspapers. The old handkerchief.
Yeah, exactly, and months before it will be discovered. In the meantime, we shall have many more victims.
Oh, brother, what a switch. What a switch.
Yes, Christy. You might put it, the professor pulls a switch. A $5,000 switch. Who's the next victim, Christy, and where and when?
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with The Professor Pulls a Switch. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring John Loder as Professor Carter Forsyth in The Professor Pulls a Switch. The months rolled by. The professor's share of Mio Lanza's hard-earned savings was gone, as was Al Christie. Other victims had come into the grocery store, the same trick had been worked, and all went away with their brown parcels of newspaper cut to the size of $100 bills, clutched nervously in their hands. Now time was running out. The professor knew this. Al was not very aware of it. Mio Lanza and Anna let their patients wear very thin. The professor and Al were alone in the grocery store one morning.
You're doing beautifully, Christy. I'm thinking of opening a branch office upstate. And perhaps you are the man to supervise it for me.
Well, thanks, Professor. Tell the truth, I'll be kind of glad to stop selling coffee and spaghetti as a first.
Hey, Professor, we've been looking for you.
Yes, sir. It's 5 months now, and you get no job to my husband.
Mrs. Lanza, I said when we first met it might take time.
Almost a half a year now. Is it too long?
Yes.
Sure, my money's just paying the package. We're not sleeping nights. There's too much money in the house, and there's no interest like in a bank.
Here, we bring him package. We ask you to take it and find for my husband a job.
Getting a little frayed around the edges, isn't it?
My friends, I was just this moment explaining to Mr. Christie I have a most important appointment downtown on your business, Mr. Lanza. So if you will excuse me,
But Professor,
if you'll all forgive me, I can barely make it now. I'll see you again presently with good news, I trust.
You know something? All at once, I don't like this man. Neil, I am very glad now you hold the money yourself.
You sure of your friend, Alfred, huh?
As sure as I am of myself.
All right, good. Then maybe in a few days, it's a job, huh?
Meantime, we put some clean paper on the money, so all will be ready. Yes, Alfred? Neil, this is no money. It's just a newspaper.
It's not possible. You must be nuts or something.
$5,000. It's so hard to save, and now it's all gone.
Alfred, your friend is a crook.
No, something's wrong here. Who's fighting?
Right, the Lancers think the professor is a crook.
Some way, I don't know how, but some way he gets our money.
I remember. I wasn't standing here. He's a kid. He's a fall on the package.
Oh.
He changed the package.
Hey, look, I know it's tough, but you can't prove anything.
And you, my friend, you are in this. I know. You say, too, I must hold the money. You do not want to hold it. Like the professor, you do not. You are a thief, a thief.
He'll put on a knife.
It's a cheese knife. It's good and sharp. Alfred, you make the one move. It would be your own knife. I got you. Oi, Garner. You run for the police.
Yes.
We're after my friend Alfred. We find out who is the thief. Who's stealing money so hard to save.
Alfred Christie, you're charged with larceny. How do you plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Have you anything to say before sentence is pronounced?
Nothing, Your Honor. I told the district attorney I have nothing to say. I switched the packages, that's all.
Very well. I know that it's accepted practice in some cases to allow a prisoner to plead guilty to a lesser charge in order to avoid the time and trouble and expense of a long trial. However, I can think of few crimes more reprehensible than the one to which you've just admitted guilt. Swindling an honest man of his life savings. With this in mind, I sentence you to the limit the law allows. 5 to 10 years in state prison. That's all.
And what happens to me, Your Honor? And the kid while he's in jail? Why is my husband a victim while the man who was behind us goes free? Why?
That woman removed.
Now, don't, Bertha. You'll only get in trouble.
I don't care. They told the book at you. But what about the professor? Where is he? Why haven't
Just
you
a
told
moment, madam. Are you Mrs. Christie?
I am, Your Honor.
Do you know something about this professor that your husband has refused to tell?
I know him. Professor Carter Forsyth. With his ways and his smiles. And all the while he's a thief and a makeup thief.
Well, I please control yourself, madam. You can't help your husband by this scene, but you can possibly help the state. I direct that the district attorney and the police question you at once, and if possible, that your testimony be given to the grand jury. That's all. Take them both away.
Good evening, Mrs. Christie.
Oh, good evening, Professor Forsyth.
May I come in?
You are in, Professor.
Yes, I seem to be. Are the children asleep?
The one I could afford to keep with me is. The other two relatives at home.
I see. I understand your bitterness, Mrs. Christie. It has been my experience, however, that bitterness such as yours is sweetened invariably by the sight and the possession of pieces of green and black paper, such as these.
That's a lot of money.
Your husband's due share of my enterprise to date.
What do you want for that?
Why do you interpret my motives so crassly, madam? As I said, this is your husband's share
Your
of my...
kind doesn't give up that kind of dough just to play square. Let's have it. What do you want?
I've learned in my time that memory can be a convenient attribute. Memory has strange lapses at times, and I believe that your memory is due for an exhibition tomorrow before the grand jury.
Oh, in other words, you're buying my silence, Professor.
Again, madam, you're very blunt. Let us say I am ensuring that certain details which you hinted at in a certain courtroom during a, to say the least, injudicious outburst will flee your memory tomorrow morning.
Save the talk, Professor. And the money.
Surely you will listen to reason, Mrs. Christie. A large sum of reason.
You won't get Al out of jail. And I'd like to see you there on visiting days, too. And so would the Lances and a lot of other decent
You're
folks.
very determined, madam. A pity. A stubborn woman is usually a foolish woman.
What do you mean by that crap?
It may interest you to know, madam, that I acquired my sobriquet of professor while I was a magician of no little repute.
Stay away from me.
That reputation was based principally on my knowledge of sleight of hand. On my very skillful hands, on my very powerful hands, Mrs. Christie. Let us not be noisy and vulgar about this, Mrs. Christie. It's really too bad you were such an emotional woman, Mrs. Christie. The grand jury will miss you, madam. One moment, please. I asked you to wait. Christie.
Let me in. Shut the door, Professor.
Aren't you out early, Christie?
I'm out. Good behavior.
In a matter of months, on a sentence of 5 to 10 years? Oh, there must be new rules.
Yeah. And maybe I made them.
Christie, surely you haven't been foolhardy enough to break jail.
Maybe. Maybe a couple other things, too.
Interesting. Care to cite any examples?
Yeah. Maybe I got told by the folks taking care of my kids that my wife is dead.
I heard something to that effect. A pity. A youngish woman, too.
Yeah. And a woman who stood for her no-good husband and tried to make him into something decent for a long time. She deserved something better than me, or dying the way she did. And maybe she shouldn't be just a name in a police file marked Murders Unsolved.
A long speech for you.
Maybe I learned that from you, Professor.
Have you suddenly acquired a long tongue, Christie?
Maybe I have.
Your wife had a long tongue. Too long. Much too long.
I figured you were in that deal.
No one has anything on me in that case, Christie. No one can even lead to me except you. And the most you could get me is a conviction for grand larceny. However, I have no intention of spending any time in jail.
You're gonna fry, Professor.
On the contrary, Christie, a respectable householder such as I has every right to protect his premises from an escaped convict such as you, particularly a thief such as you, even when the protection involves killing.
Put away the knife, Professor. It doesn't go with the act.
On the contrary, the climax of my act used to be an exhibition of knife-throwing light.
All right, put it down, Professor.
Down or into Christie here.
All right, hold him, Wiener. Here, I got him, Lieutenant.
Let me go. You have no warrant.
Quiet him, Wiener. Yes, sir.
Okay, dump him in the car, Wiener. The doc can look at his hand down at the station.
Check, Lieutenant.
You all right, Christie?
Yeah. Now I am. But you'd never get here, Lieutenant.
Why, we were outside right after you shut the door. Nice work. We've got a good circumstantial case on him for the death of your wife and a clear case of attempted murder where you're concerned. And I've got a hunch, Christie, that the parole board will take early notice of your assistance to the police in this. Now then, before you go back to jail, you want to watch us book the professor for murder?
Crime does not pay. John Loder, who was starred as Professor Carter Forsyth in The Professor Pulls a Switch, will be back with you in just a moment. Now here in person is John Loder.
There's little use denying that the professor was a very clever fellow. The pity being that his cleverness was warped and twisted into channels that led to evil rather than to good. The moral of his tale is twofold. First, for people like Neil Lanza, who, like so many of us, lend themselves to schemes without thinking because of the pressures we feel in our daily struggle to make a living. Second, for people like the professor, who live by their wits and expect to get away with it as long as they care to. To the first group, we say, watch your step. Think before you leap. To the second group, we reiterate, no matter how clever you may think you are, the day of reckoning will eventually arrive. It happens to be very true that crime does not pay.
Thank you, Mr. Loder. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Lowe, with music composed and conducted by John Garth. Technical advisor is Burton B. Curtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
And now, Gangbusters! Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories.
And now...
Tonight, Gangbusters presents the case of the elusive leader, in which a ready gun is a must, lead is for squealers, and a handkerchief is a deceptive clue as California police attempt to shoot holes in an airtight alibi.
Tonight, Gangbusters has asked the Honorable Fletcher Bowron, Mayor of the City of Los Angeles, to narrate by proxy the case of the elusive leader. Mayor Bowron, while most of our listeners know a lot about your great city of Los Angeles, I doubt that many are aware of the huge law enforcement problem that confronts your police department.
Well, Roger Foster, the 4,300 authorized sworn personnel, plus several hundred civilian employees, the Los Angeles Police Department, are charged with enforcing the law in over 450 square miles of territory. Day and night, our police patrol over 5,000 miles of improved streets in this, the third largest city in the nation, based on estimated population. Our police have to be ready to face any sort of emergency at any instant. And tonight's case is one example of the problems involved.
We're anxious to hear the facts, Mayor Bowron.
The case begins in Los Angeles during the war year of 1943. In the public interest, the names of the principal characters involved in this story, along with those of the police officers, are fictitious. It was just after dark. Two men stood in the doorway of an underworld haunt. They were watching some young hoodlums.
Tony.
Yeah, Hooker?
What's Whitey and Shrimp doing over there? Picking that lunch?
Whitey's supposed to be at the hideout. I told him to
Hold it. Cop's coming.
Hey, you guys, what do you think you do?
Holy smokes, Whitey beat the cop with his gun.
That stupid fool. That cop may recognize him the next time. He should have killed him. How many times have I told you
There goes
guys?
Whitey around the corner. He's getting to the hideout that way.
I'll fix his wagon. You got the rest of the boys waiting?
Yeah, Hooker, that's what you said. They have him at the hideout. They have him waiting. That's what you said.
Shut up, Tony. Come on, let's get in there.
Yeah, boss, yeah.
Okay, man, the boss, line up. All right, everybody. Put your guns on the table for inspection. This gun's okay. Whose gun's this?
Let's see. That's Whitey's.
Yeah, Hooker, that's mine. What's your idea hitting me? A lot of reasons, Whitey. One for bungling that job with that cop. Grab him, boys.
I got him, Hooker.
Now, look, Whitey, I got certain rules in this gang.
Yeah, Hooker, I look at him.
Don't interrupt when I'm talking. First rule is never let a cop get away alive.
Yeah, Hooker.
Second rule, Whitey, have your gun oiled and ready for shooting at all times. Your gun's rusty. Look at the dirt get on my handkerchief when I wiped it. Ruined a brand new pocket handkerchief on me.
Well, I didn't know.
Suppose I was in a spot I told you to shoot and your gun jammed because it was rusty.
Yeah, well, I...
String him up, men.
No, Hooker, no. No, don't talk to me. I won't forget the next time. I swear I won't.
Whitey, next time you forget is the last. Okay, the third rule is if you're ever caught by the cops, don't talk. You ever do talk, Whitey, I'll get you no matter what prison they put you in. You'll die a worse death than you ever dreamed of.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Ollie, you understand that?
Sure, we got you.
All right, then come up around the table here. Hear my plans on some new jobs.
Hello? Police! Police! Get here quick. Some gunmen just drive and shut up the place next door. There were about 5 of them. Yeah, they drove off in a black car. Get here fast. Hurry.
Urgent. Second holdup reported. Liquor store. Gunman escaping in black sedan. Are armed. Approach with caution. Time, 12 o'clock midnight.
All
right, turn right on the next corner.
Right, Hooker, yeah.
Pull up the middle of the plaza.
Uh-huh.
The other boys are robbing that gas station. We'll take this place.
Okay.
I'm allowing you just 2 minutes for this job. Get your guns ready?
Sure. Right here.
Stay at the wheel, Jake. All right, let's go. It's a stick-up. We mean business. Get that thing. Get her.
My wife! You hurt my wife!
Out from back of that counter, you.
What'd you do to her? What'd you do to her? A murderer?
That's the way to shut these people up. Get the money, boys. I'll see if there's anyone in back. No one back here. Okay, you got the dough?
Yeah, I'll say we have, boss. And it didn't take 2 minutes.
That's the way to do it. Throw the fear of death into them. All right, let's go. Watch it. Don't trip on that dame.
They killed him, Captain. They killed him.
Now, take it easy, Madeline. The doctor says he has a chance. They're carrying him out to the ambulance now.
Brute. Murderers.
Lady, can you describe the gunman who came in your store here?
We were closing. We would have been closed in another minute, and then...
Well, you're badly hurt yourself. I won't ask you any more questions. Now, Frank, help this woman out to the ambulance. Go to the hospital with him. If you get a description, phone it to headquarters. I'll be in touch. Okay, Sergeant. What did you find out?
Oh, nothing much, Captain. Some people across the street heard the shots, saw 3 men run out and jump in a black car. They moved so fast they didn't get the license or anything.
I have an idea who pulled this job and all those other recent ones, but not a bit of proof.
Hooker?
That's the one, Sergeant. Hooker. Has all the earmarks of his gang. Fast-moving, efficient, brutal.
Well, we pulled him in 4 or 5 times, Captain, but we can never pin anything on him. Gang murder, the gas ration robbery. Even when we have witnesses, they shut up as soon as his name is mentioned.
Well, he's bound to make a slip sooner or later. If we can get one piece of evidence that'll stand up in court against him, we'll have... Wait a minute.
What is it, Captain?
Handkerchief on the floor by this counter. Looks like rust on it.
Oh, yes?
Man's could be the owner's. No, it's too fancy. More like a pocket piece. Maybe one of the gunmen.
That would be a break.
Hey, there's a laundry marker we can trace.
Hey, let me run it down, Captain.
All right, Sergeant. Get going on this fast. I'll drop you off at the lab. I'm getting back to headquarters and see if the squads have rounded any suspects. Let's go.
You can't hold me for no hold-up, Captain. I was having me beauty rest at Sam's Flophouse when these crumb-bums of yours pulled me in.
That's enough out of you. Take him outside, bring in the next suspect. Captain Durham speaking.
Captain, Sergeant Johnson. I've had a look on that handkerchief. I checked the police files and laundries, found the right laundry, and checked their records. The handkerchief belongs to Hooker.
Nice work. This is the first concrete evidence we've had on Hooker. This puts him right on the scene of that hold-up and shooting. Let's get him.
The police were moving fast, Gangbusters listeners, to round up this vicious gang leader and his mob. But they were about to run into something they never expected.
Say, folks, next time you want a real Hi, sports fans. You know, a pro athlete needs lots of vim and victory.
Say, speaking of good things to eat.
Back-to-school outfits for that special something.
Never get the feeling that most radio commercials sound the same. You're right.
Like a big cat around curves. And hell...
Unless your commercial is created by people who really know their radio.
Rich tomato goodness in every bite.
Around here, if there's one agency that knows radio, it's the one that knows enough to bring you the great vintage radio of the Van Cristo Radio Theater. Van Cristo Associates Advertising.
Great warehouse sale. Save 10, 20, 30% and more on famous names.
If you're a radio advertiser, why don't you give us a call? You might end up with some commercials that don't sound like all the others.
If you like chicken, you'll love
Advertising.
Van Cristo Associates Advertising, Boston.
Do it today.
You'll be glad you did.
And now back to Gangbusters. And once again, we hear from tonight's narrator, Mayor Fletcher Bowron of Los Angeles.
As soon as the police got evidence on the gang leader Hooker, they moved quietly into the area where he was hiding out and surrounded the whole neighborhood. It was 2:00 in the morning.
All right, men.
This is the gang hideout. Keep in the shadows. Someone may be watching. Right, Captain. Have your guns and flashlights ready. I don't know what we'll run into. Okay, now careful upstairs. It's the door at the head of the landing, spread out flat against the wall. Sergeant, try the door. It's open, Captain. Open? I don't like that. On your toes now. Okay, Sergeant, push the door. Empty. There's another room over there. Come on. This is it, boys. I hear someone in there.
Get those hands down. Get the leg of it. No, you don't, Hooker. Let go of me, will you? This one. Get the cuffs on it. Here's the last one right here. There you are, Captain. All three of them, cuffed and waiting.
What do you cats think you're doing anyway?
I'll tell you, Hooker. We've got you for assault and armed robbery. Lucky for you, that storekeeper didn't die. It'd be murder.
You guys brought me in before. You couldn't hold me. You won't hold me now.
This time we've got the goods on you.
That's what you
That's
said.
enough out of you, Hooker. All right, men, take them down to the squad cars.
Hooker was brought to trial, Gangbusters listeners. And as I said, the unexpected happened.
Calling Captain Durham, car 32. Captain Durham, car 32. Come in, car 32. This is car 32, Captain Durham speaking. What is it, dispatcher? Captain, this is Johnson. The Hooker case. It's out the window. What? What do you mean? Yeah, I've just come from the courtroom. 2 of the gunmen pleaded guilty, but they swear Hooker wasn't with them. But the handkerchief, how about that? One of the gunmen says he stole the handkerchief from Hooker, that he was wearing it and dropped it, not Hooker. He's lying. Sure, he's lying, but it's that fear angle again. He'd rather go to jail than squeal on Hooker. We haven't any corroborating witness. Storekeeper couldn't identify Hooker. Good Lord. So the 2 gunmen are going to jail, but Hooker's going free. Captain, are you there? Okay, Johnson. I'm coming over to the court right away. Meet me.
Shall we go in the courtroom, Captain? No, we'll wait here in the corridor.
They're coming out. Captain, look. Here comes Hooker, scot-free.
The smirk on that face.
Well, officers. Told you couldn't hold me. And you went to so much trouble.
I know how you feel, Captain. I know just how you feel.
No, you don't, Sergeant. We've still got a surprise for that rat. Let's stop at the Federal Building a minute and then get out to Hooker's place before he gets there himself. Put him up, Hookie.
Hey, what is this?
Put the cuffs on him, Sergeant.
With pleasure.
What is this? You guys again? Judge just turned me loose. You guys know that. Are you crazy?
We want you on a different charge this time, Hooker. Federal offense.
What?
For stealing government property.
You're nuts.
80,000 gas coupons were stolen from U.S. government offices. We found them hidden here in your apartment, and there's a brand new warrant for your arrest.
Huh?
So turn yourself around, Hooker. You're going right back to jail.
Hey, Captain, listen. Bulletin 305. Ernest Hooker, criminal, tried today in federal court on charges of conspiracy and receiving stolen government property. Found guilty. Sentenced to 7 years U.S. Penitentiary, McNeil Island, Washington.
Relax, Hooker. You can't open them cell doors. After a year, you ought to know about cells. We got no plush rugs, no lace curtains. But the bars is the finest steel in the country. Take it easy and get acquainted with your new cellmate. Shut up, you mug. Look, that's my spot. Says who? Get up, I said.
I'll kill you for that, Hooker.
You get that knife.
I'll cut your throat.
Cut my throat.
Ow! My arm!
Up the knife. Drop it.
easy does it, guy. You're okay. You're the guy I'm looking for. Huh? I knew I'd find someone tough enough in this prison to fight back. Make a break with me.
You can't break out of here, Hooker. This place is right in the middle of Puget Sound.
I'll get out of this prison or run blood.
I don't know.
Afraid?
Do I look afraid?
Good. Here's your knife. We may have to kill some of the guards.
I'd like to kill them all.
Now just take it easy. Gotta wait for the foggy night. Next night, a heavy fog rolls in. We're rolling out. We've done all right so far. Now we gotta move fast. We'll be checking ourselves, find out we're gone.
I'm right in back of you, Hooker.
This fog was made to order. We gotta be careful of the searchlight on that tower. When it swings this way, fall down.
It's coming this way.
Fall down. Don't move. Don't breathe. Okay, now. There'll be a prison guard at the end of the building. I'll take a quick look. There is.
He's got his back turned. I'll get him.
Nice work. We'll make for the walls and for the water. Come on.
Attention, California State Patrol and West Coast Police. Ernest Hooker has just escaped McNeil Island Penitentiary. Hooker, extremely dangerous. May attempt to return to Los Angeles. All right, officer. Thanks, Captain. Now, this meeting is short and to the point. If Hooker tries to sneak back here to Los Angeles, he's not going to last 1 week. Special squads are watching all honky-tonks, pool rooms, bar rooms, shady rooming houses, every place he may show up. We're cracking down on the underworld without let-up. They were afraid to testify against Hooker before. Well, this time they're going to be afraid to hide him out.
Buying a drink for baby. As long as your name ain't Hooker, it's okay. The way the cops are looking for that guy, I don't want no part of him.
Hey, what's going on? Quiet, we're police. This is a raid. Now, you officers take that side of the room, check everyone. Come on, Sergeant. Let's look these people over. We're bound to find Hooker in one of these joints.
Tony, come in fast.
Why'd you open the door right away, Hooker?
I wanted to be sure it was you.
I give you the code now.
I know, but I ain't taking any chances. It might have been cops.
I don't blame you, Hooker. They're ripping this town apart looking for you.
Yeah. I know all about that. I've been listening on the radio. Here, I shut this thing up. Now, get the dough?
I couldn't get none, Hooker.
What do you mean you couldn't get none? I gotta have dough. I'm broke, don't you understand? I gotta get out of this town. I can't stay hid up here like I've been the past 2 weeks.
Take it easy, Hooker. You should never come back to Los Angeles.
Don't tell me that. I'm going nuts. Every sound I hear, cops. I look out the window, cops. Cop cars going by, cops on the radio. I can only stand so much of this.
You got it bad, Hooker. You ain't helping yourself.
You should have got that money. You should have seen Link.
I did see Link. That's what I'm telling you.
Well, then where's the dough?
He won't give it, not 1 red cent. He don't want no part of you. Says you're too hot.
The dirty skunk. I made that guy. I made him what he is. Now he gives me the cold shoulder.
You don't have to tell me. You're on the spot, Hooker. I'm sticking with you, but I'm taking a chance.
You mean the cops trail you here You're coming here?
No. Let up, will you?
We got to change this hideout. I don't trust
Now,
that.
don't get on that merry-go-round again. This is the best place we could be, a ground floor. If we got to move fast, we duck out the window.
Yeah, I guess so. Just don't know. Look, Tony, I got to get some dough. Now, go try Barney.
Barney?
Sure, he's my pal. He'll help me.
I don't know.
You gotta.
Okay. Only it'll take some time. I may not get back till midnight.
Midnight when we used to go to work. Now they ratted on me. But I'll get out of this. I'll get them yet, Tony. You'll see.
Easy, will you? You'll have the hotel people in here.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Now, look, I'm going, Hooker. I'll be back as fast as I can.
Yeah, get back fast, Tony. Get back real fast. I don't like to be alone.
Okay, Sergeant, now, cut into the curb.
Yeah. Get him up, Tony. You're covered. Cops.
Yeah, we spotted you a block back. Where's Hooker?
I don't know.
Never mind, we'll get Hooker. Okay, Sergeant, frisk him.
Yeah.
Here's something, Captain. A hotel receipt.
So what?
I ain't staying there no more. We'll see about that, Tony. Check up on this hotel, Sergeant, and if Hooker is hiding out there, don't try and take him alone. I'll come right out with the squad.
Tony got to be back. Plenty of time. This guy can't live this way closed in by 4 hours. He said be back by midnight. He said... Maybe I'll hear something on the radio. Maybe he ain't coming back. Maybe he's run out on me, too. But that...
Car 19, investigate corner house, Ocean Road. Man came home late. His wife is hollering. That is all.
That's nothing about Tony. Everyone's left me. A whole bunch has left me. If I ever get out of this... What's that? It's you, Tony. Tony, is that you? Who's out there? Someone's outside that door. Cops! I'm getting out of here!
Now, here, Sergeant. Get out that window, Captain. Past him. There he is. Oh, Hooker! Oh! Look out, Sergeant. He's going to shoot.
Okay?
Yeah.
Come on.
He ran back to those cars.
Yeah, I see him. You get him?
I'm not sure.
Stop!
Take careful aim.
Think we got him.
Back of that auto, but he may be playing possum. Careful. Okay, Hooker. Had enough?
Yeah, I've had enough. Send me back to jail. I've had enough.
Well, it's time now for our Radio Buff Contest of the Week. Each week following our Van Cristo Radio Theater presentation of Gangbusters, currently, we present a Radio Buff Contest in which you may be the winner of a copy of Orson Welles' famous production of H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds. Last week, we asked you a question concerning a brief introduction to a famous radio adventure series. We asked you to tell us what was the name of that series. The answer was Terry and the Pirates. And our winner, drawn from all the correct entries received, Mr. Robert Horton of Bennett Street in Woburn, who will soon be receiving his copy of The War of the Worlds. And now to tonight's contest. This familiar concert melody you're going to hear introduced a daytime radio serial which dramatized the story of a United States woman senator who succeeded her husband, who believed dead, was actually fighting under an assumed name with American forces in North Africa. Will you please tell us what is the name of this theme melody?
identify that melody. If you can, mail your answer before this Tuesday midnight to Radio Buff, Van Cristo Radio Theater, 18 Newbury Street, Boston, 02116. One winner will be drawn from all correct entries. The judge's decision is final. So mail your answer now to the Radio Buff, Van Cristo Radio Theater, 18 Newbury Street, Boston, 02116. And now a final word from our Gangbusters participants on this evening's broadcast.
Yes, Gangbusters listeners, it was the fine work of the Los Angeles police and their relentless searching for Hooker that finally drove him out of hiding. There's no telling how many innocent lives were saved by his recapture. Hooker went back to prison, and he's there tonight as you listen to this case.
Thank you, Mayor Fletcher Bowron of the city of Los Angeles, for this stirring case history. And Gangbusters congratulates to all the Los Angeles and California police officers who helped end this criminal career.
You're indeed welcome, sir. Gangbusters is doing a good job in supporting the efforts of our law enforcement officers.
Tonight's case was dramatized by John Mole and directed by George Zachary, with Chuck Webster and Bill Zuckert in leading roles. Roger Foster speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
And it comes to you by delayed broadcast every Sunday night at 8 o'clock on the Van Cristo Radio Theater on WCRB.
Proudly we hail. From New York City, where the American stage begins, here is another program with a cast of outstanding players. Public service time has been made available by this station for your Army and your Air Force to bring you this story, as proudly we hail the brave men of the Continental Army. Our story is entitled Line of Defense, the dramatic story of the defense of New York and the saving of an army that was destined to win America's independence. Our first act curtain will rise in just a moment, but first, today your rapidly expanding United States Army needs intelligent young men with ability and ambition. Men intelligent enough to recognize the vital need for a strong armed force. Men with ability enough to be trained in a necessary job. Men with ambition enough to secure the future for themselves and their loved ones. Does this description fit you? Can you qualify? For full information on how you can fit in with the finest, check with your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station now. And now your Army and your Air Force present the proudly we hail production, Line of Defense. The winter of 1776 had solidified the American Revolutionary movement. The streams of discontent that had their beginnings in the first rumblings of George III's oppression had now frozen into solid lines of resistance. Americans were aware of the cold facts that British sovereignty could no longer be reconciled with colonial liberty. A war had begun, and the action was only to be decided by a victory of arms. For the campaign to come, both sides made extensive preparations. The British decided to shift their field of action by early spring from Boston to New York City. From there, they planned to hold the line formed by the Hudson River in cooperation with a force that was to move down from Canada and thus effectually isolate New England. Across the East River from New York town lay Long Island and a sparsely populated area called Brookland. To get into Brookland, you had to first take a ferry from the foot of Fulton Street.
Ward! Ward! Over here!
I tell you, General, it's inspiring. That man Tom Paine has this town in an uproar. My word.
Oh, come, man. Catch your breath. We've plenty of time. The ferry's not to leave until Putnam comes.
I'm sorry, sir. I was a bit overcome for the moment.
Well, I hope this weather isn't getting the best of you, Colonel.
No, sir. It was just someone had posted a copy of Common Sense on the corner of Wall Street, which a crowd had gathered to read and cheer.
Oh, a crowd gathered in this weather, too.
I couldn't push through the narrow street for the life of me.
Well, it's a different world we're living in, Ward. We've come a long way from Lexington.
Aye, General. When the people aroused.
Hey, listen to that. Oh, I think your crowd is catching up with you again.
If I'm not mistaken, sir, that's General Putnam working his way through some enthusiastic admirers.
Hey, I believe you're right. Over here, sir.
Nathaniel, Colonel Ward, I had no idea I would have so distinguished a reception committee.
Your message spoke of things of urgent moment, General. I thought it best.
You're right, Nathaniel. Let's be aboard and done with them. Corporal, see that the horses are fed and well bedded. We're back to Philadelphia in the morning.
The outgoing tide carried the ferry bearing the three men away from the Fulton Street slip and pushed it silently across the river to Brookland. Fresh mounts were waiting on the Long Island shore as the three braved the cold winds that blew down Wallabout Bay from the north. They headed up along the waters of the Gowanus to Fort Putnam, a bastion of the newly formed Army of the Continental Congress. A driving snow began to fall, and the three were hailed into the fort and about their business.
Take the weather from your boots, General. Come, warm yourself by the fire.
That I will, Nathaniel.
You, Ward, hang your cape here. It'll dry quickly.
Thank you, sir. Well, it's no wonder our British friends sit out the winter in Boston and Halifax. These winter winds are more destructive of armies than bullets and bayonets.
You're right, Ward.
But your men here look well cared for, Nathaniel.
Aye, sir, but they champ at the bit for action.
Well, they'll have it sooner than they wish for. Do you have a map of the northeast quarter, Nathaniel?
Here, sir. There you are. Before you.
Our agent says that Howe and Burgoyne have reasoned that the seat of rebellion lies within the limits of this quarter. In New York town, roughly north and east to Quebec. They feel that if they can quash rebellion here, the rest of the colonies will submit with a minimum of resistance.
But the General know our situation here. The disbursement of trained troops is woefully thin.
Washington knows it can only be a delaying action. Let's see that map again, Nathaniel.
No, I see.
Now, the only place that Howe could put his men ashore would be off Gravesend or New Utrecht here.
Right, sir. Any further up the Narrows will put them in range of our cannon.
Yes, and then he'd probably follow the road to Flatbush across here. Yeah. And storm the heights across country to Brookland, making the crossing into New York town.
Aye, and our line of defense should lie somewhere about here, on the heights.
Can we hold them there?
And you see the way Gowanus Creek lies in here, and the Wallabout Bay lies here. We can guard approximately 3 miles of the East River by a short defense line where I've indicated that.
Good. And that's the way it's to be done. Make your plans accordingly. Oh, one thing more, Nathaniel. The householder who owns the property on the heights makes sure of his loyalty. It could be troublesome were he not friendly.
Isaac, please. You come down from behind there. I break every dish in the house over your head.
Matilda, please. Matilda, please.
No, you lazy. There will be no reading of these foolish papers when there is jobs to do.
The ground is hard, Matilda. It cannot be worked.
We do not work the ground. We fix door and new barn so cows can go in and out.
I am richest farmer in all Brooklyn, Matilda. Why cannot hired men fix the door on my barns?
Isaac, we will fix the barn now. You want to be poor Hollander like your father?
No, Matilda, but there are important happenings in Boston and Philadelphia. The colonies will no longer pay allegiance to British kings. That is good.
Yeah, there are important things in Brooklyn, too. Barn door is broken. Cows go in and out in the cold and freeze. No more milk.
No use. This house isn't the milk with sour turn. I go now fix the barn.
My land, Isaac, I'm not for company. Who you tell to come?
I tell no one.
must answer the door.
Who is there? Colonel Ward.
I'll go change my dress. You answer the door. I think I will be in the...
Oh, Colonel Ward, come in out of the cold.
Sure.
So long since I've been honored with your company.
I have come with good reason, Isaac. Can I speak?
Of course, Colonel, speak. Matilda has gone to change her dress.
Well, I won't take more than just a moment. Isaac, it appears now as if we'll see some action by spring.
Oh.
Yes. The British are mounting an army of nearly 30,000 men at Halifax, and they'll probably attack New York by summer.
New York?
Yes. The first battle will probably be fought right here in Long Island, in Brookland.
We have not enough troops to meet an army that size.
We must build a line of defense here that will hold Howe's army long enough for us to be able to evacuate our small army to New York.
Colonel, whatever help I can give, what can I do?
The line of defense is to be here, on your property.
Here?
Yes. We plan to build battlements along the whole north ridge of your farm, along the heights. A defense line of a little more than a mile at that point can guard over 3 miles of the East River.
Yeah, you're right. There's no other place in all of Brookland. I'm glad, Colonel, you come by me first.
Isaac, well, you do not tell me we have company.
Oh, Matilda, you have never met Colonel Ward from the Fort, Colonel. My wife, Matilda.
It's an honor, madam.
Did you not offer the Colonel a cup of coffee, Isaac?
Well, I can only say...
The Colonel came about some clothes for the new army, Matilda.
Army's clothes. What silly business is this?
Madam, we fight for our freedom. It should be the concern of everyone.
The war does not come to our farm. I care not if it is British king or American king who sits on throne.
If the yoke of oppression is worn by one man, it's worn by all.
This is nonsense.
I think, Colonel, we had better talk at another time.
Yes, I'd best be getting back to the fort.
Here, let me help you with your coat.
Oh, thank you, Isaac. Thank you. About that other matter we discussed.
Yes, Colonel.
Matter? What other matter?
The fence. Colonel Ward is to send some men to build a fence.
A fence? Where do we need a fence?
On the heights, Matilda.
Are you crazy, Isaac? It is our property on both sides of the heights. Why do you need a fence?
Matilda, I'm surprised with you. We have talked about fence many times. For windbreak, to build garden, to make pond. We need fence, Matilda.
Well,
Colonel Ward has kindly offered to send over some of his men who have nothing to do to help build the fence for nothing. It will be beautiful fence, Matilda.
You're sure it's for nothing?
Oh, absolutely, Mrs. Sanford.
Yes. Since it's for nothing, I cannot see where it will do harm. Good day, Colonel. I must now go about my work. Strange, I do not remember about the fence. Isaac, do not be long. We still have the barn door to finish.
Yeah, Matilda, I'm coming.
Thank you, Isaac.
Start your fence soon, Colonel. Like an army, when you have won a victory, never gives the enemy time to recover.
Isaac, it is over a month that the soldiers are still working out on the heights. They're making a big fence.
It's a big wind that sweeps in from the north, Matilda.
All right, but do not leave the work interfere with your plowing.
The ground will be broken, the seeds will be planted, the crops will grow.
Isaac, the fence still goes on. When are these men through? When will this fence be finished and done with?
It takes time, Matilda. One stone does not build a wall.
I think this fence is no good. It's all we talk now. Fence. You go to the fort and tell Colonel that we do not need any more fence. The work is through.
But, Matilda...
Isaac, the work is through.
Isaac, come in. It's good to see you again, my friend.
I'm glad to see you, Colonel Ward, but I come with bad news.
Oh? Well, maybe I can offset it with some good news, Isaac. Our line of defense is finished.
Ah, good. Matilda could not much longer be fooled.
Oh, and one more thing, Isaac, if I may impose on you further. We're expecting a visitor from Philadelphia next week to inspect the fortifications.
Ah. Well, Matilda has a very nice sister in Yonkers town she has not seen in 2 years.
Oh? Well, isn't it strange that we happen to have a coach going that way with some important dispatches, which
just happens to have room for one more passenger.
I think her sister gets very sick and has no one to take care of her fine 3 children.
Isaac, my friend, how is it possible to measure your kindness? Well, here's a toast, then, sir. To your visitor, to Yonkers.
And to your visitor, from Philadelphia.
You are listening to the proudly we hail production, Line of Defense. Our story will continue in just a moment after this important message.
Young man, let's talk about your future and America's future. They're important to each other, you know. Today, your United States Army is charged with a vital responsibility. You need only to glance at your local newspaper to realize how vital. And to meet this responsibility, the Army is rapidly expanding its forces. They have a job for you, a job that must be done by men of courage. You can get full details of how you may best serve your future and your country's future by a visit to your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station today.
And now your Army and your Air Force bring you the second act of the proudly we hail production, Line of Defense. In the early spring of 1776, Colonel Ward, with a regiment numbering 519 men, all under the direction of General Nathaniel Greene as engineer, was engaged in forming a line of defense which extended from the present Brooklyn Navy Yard gate, then on the Wallabout, to Fort Greene, then called Fort Putnam, and thence to the waters of the Gowanus at the present junction of Nevins and Baltic Streets in the borough of Brooklyn in the city of New York. On April 13, 1776, General George Washington arrived in New York town from Philadelphia. Newly appointed by the Continental Congress as General of all the armies, he had faith in a cause that he knew was just. And, incidentally, he had a wall to inspect, a line of defense.
It's fine, Israel, just fine. It will serve our purpose to the letter. I'm glad you're pleased, General.
But come along, Israel. We must be getting back to the fort.
Oh, one moment more, sir. That house down the hill there.
Yes, Israel?
It belongs to an old friend of Colonel Ward. His name is Van Vliet. This is his property on which we've built our fortifications. If I might suggest, sir, I think it would not be out of order were you to pay your respects.
You're absolutely right, Israel. I only wish it were possible in such instances to reward these noble deeds with more than words.
The day will come, General. The day will come.
When I was a boy in Holland, General Washington, my father would take me on long walks, each time to a new place. Yet all the places were the same.
I do not understand, Isaac.
Oh, beg your pardon, General. It is so difficult for me to express myself.
Oh, go ahead, Van Vliet.
Well, we went to one place where a farmer had died for the right to grow what he wanted. Another where William Pitt had preached when he came to Holland. Another where a religious man had been hanged for believing what he wanted to believe. You see, my father was a simple farmer. Yet he knew in his heart that things could be better. And he wanted me to know that life was not the most precious thing, but living was.
Yes. It's very obvious to us all that you believe in our principles very strongly.
General, you must believe in something. And so I always tell this to Matilda.
Matilda?
Oh, she's my wife, General. A good helpmate all these years in America, yeah. But a very hard woman.
By the way, Van Vliet, is that she coming?
Where?
Coming up over the crest of the hill there.
Yeah. That is her.
Isn't it rather unusual for a woman to be traveling alone through the countryside?
Not my Matilda.
Oh?
But, she was to have been in Yonkers with her sister Jenny. She should not be here.
I think we'd best be going, Isaac.
No, please stay, if only for a moment. And just remember, she knows nothing of the defense line.
What's that?
She thinks we have built fence for windbreak. Matilda knows nothing of war and soldiers.
And I think you've complicated things unduly for yourself, Aunt Lee.
With your permission, General, I do not think you know my Matilda. Sometimes it is wiser to plant a new corpse than to let the land lie fallow. I do not believe in telling untruths, but Matilda has a busy mind, and it needs something to work on.
Isaac, one, please. Isaac? Who are these men?
Gentlemen, this is my wife. Matilda, this is General George Washington and General Putnam.
How do you do?
How do you do? Isaac, I would like to speak with you.
Matilda, can you not offer company something?
Isaac, I would like to speak with you.
I'm afraid, Aunt Lee, that we must be on our way.
Must you?
General Washington has a meeting in New York this evening.
Oh.
Goodbye, Aunt Lee. I don't think anything further need be said. God be with you. Goodbye, Mrs. Van Vliet. It's been a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Goodbye, Isaac and Mrs. Van Vliet.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Isaac?
Yeah, Matilda?
Where are you going?
I go out, cows to milk.
It can wait. Why you tell me Jenny is sick and cannot take care of the children? I see Jenny by the Fulton Street Ferry. She has come to visit me. Why you tell me this? Why? Why? Why?
It is very peaceful, Ward. For 2 months now, my Matilda says nothing to me. I think it best we have big arguments. She forgets about friends.
Well, I'm afraid, Isaac, it's going to be a very rude awakening for her.
Why is this, Colonel?
The word is that the British fleet sails from Halifax Harbor early this month. They'll be landing off Gravesend sometime around the middle of August.
Time goes so fast, Colonel. I cannot tell what happened to the springs this year. Corn is almost waist high.
Well, that's why I'm here, Isaac.
The fortifications are preoccupied.
Yes. We're moving in sometime early next week. We can't wait any longer.
All right. I cannot wait any longer either. Matilda must know, and, well, she must know today.
Now, Isaac, perhaps it
No, Colonel. It is my responsibility. The cart has pulled the horse for too long.
I see. Isaac, I've meant to ask you for some time now. Have you made any plans for your own evacuation when the British come?
Evacuate? You mean leave here? Colonel, fooling.
No, Isaac, I'm afraid I'm not. Your farm is going to be untenable territory in Redcoat hands.
But, Colonel, my life's blood feeds on these fields.
I'm sorry, Isaac. I guess I shouldn't have asked.
Besides, what would the British want with a simple, innocent Hollander? No, Colonel, I think I stay right here in Brooklyn. I know you will come back.
Isaac, are you crazy? I do not wish to see the fence now.
Come, Matilda, you never get from the house out. The first flowers are beginning to grow along the fence. You should see.
I have little time for flowers when I'm making wheels of cheese in the kitchen.
Now look there now. Is this not something?
Yeah. All right. Is something. Now I go back to cheese.
You know, Matilda, it's like Holland.
Holland? Are you crazy?
Yeah, it's like Holland. Look down to the cove. It's like canal.
Such nonsense.
And look, flowers is yellow and red. If you close your eyes a little bit like this, it's all tulips. Like Holland.
Isaac, I must go back to the cheese.
And cows below could be Dutch cows. I think maybe next year I build windmill right here on the heights, so it will be Holland here in Brooklyn.
Yeah, this would be nice, Isaac. Holland here in Brooklyn.
You remember, Matilda?
I remember, Isaac.
No, but things are good here too, Matilda. These past 20 years have been good to us.
Isaac, the cheese will curdle.
So we make a new batch. I wish it were easy to make new country like new batch cheese.
Huh? What do you mean, Isaac?
We work hard, Matilda, almost all our lives.
Yeah?
Whichever way you look, it's our land, yours, mine.
America has been good to us. We don't need Holland now, Matilda. Even so, we still love what we remember, yeah?
This is true, Isaac, but why are you telling me this?
Matilda, we cannot listen to take it away.
Crazy man, what are you talking about?
The British, Matilda, they will take it all. The canals, the tulips, the wind.
It's impossible.
No, Matilda, it's real. Colonel Ward has told me the British land off Gravesend and New Utrecht before next month.
They cannot do this. Can they, Isaac?
They will take it all. They will land about 30,000 men at New Utrecht, march into Flatbush, and right up this hill to our house.
But we cannot let them, Isaac.
No, Matilda, no. We cannot let them.
What can we do, Isaac? What can we do?
What can we do? Oh. Wait. Wait, I have an idea. Our fence will stop them.
Our fence? Isaac, have you gone mad?
No, I will go to the fort and talk with Colonel Ward. This wall will be perfect line of defense to stop the British if they try to cross the heights to New York town. And it must be done.
For once, Isaac, you're right. Absolutely right. It must be done.
All right, easy there, easy. Those are cannon, not those pigs. Easy there. The rest of you men don't stand there. Move lively. Lay a hand here, that's it. All right, men, now up. Good. Well done. I'd like to see old General Howe's face when he looks into that one. It'll blast him to kingdom come.
The ship has been sighted, sir. There are 5 men of war. They've recognized the Phoenix and the Greyhound among them, so I take it this is to be the action we've waited for. And if I may say so, sir, we're ready for them.
Colonel Ward, what's that woman doing in the line? She shouldn't be there. Yes, sir. Hold it, Sergeant! That woman in the line. See that she gets evacuated to a rear position. Yes, sir, immediately. Hold it, Sergeant!
General, I can't believe my eyes. No, it can't be.
What is it, Colonel? Speak up, man.
With your permission, sir, I'd like to let that woman remain as long as she wishes.
Why, yes, Colonel, of course. But why?
One moment, sir.
Sergeant, let that woman proceed as before.
Sir, never in all my born days did I think I'd see this hour. That woman is Mathilde Van Fleet, pouring coffee for the men in the line. They're coming, sir. But they don't know it's to be an empty victory for them.
Sergeant, let's make that first salvo a furious one. They won't dare to mount these heights again. Easy, men. Hold your fire. Easy, men. Easy. Look at them march up the hill. That's the way those that can will march down. Now, men, up your muskets. That's the word down the line. Sergeant ready. All right, men, let them have it.
As the victorious army of General Howe approached the line of defense on the afternoon of August 27, 1776, the imposing appearance of a well-planned fortification served to check the ardor of his troops, and the commanding general halted his assault and decided that only by slow approaches and counter-fortifications could he reduce the work. The progress of the British Army having been stopped by the fortifications, sufficient time elapsed to enable Washington to retreat successfully across the East River with the entire forces under his command. The loss of this portion of the Continental Army in the early days of the Revolution would have been disastrous to the cause of the Americans, a loss that could not have been made good. Historians all agree that the line of defense was the main factor in saving the American army from capture after the Battle of Long Island.
Here's a special message for the young men of our country. The United States Army, the senior service of our armed forces, is expanding rapidly and needs your help. By enlisting in the United States Army, you'll not only get the finest training in the world, but you'll have the special pride that goes with wearing a United States Army uniform. Why not get full details today? Visit your local United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station. Enlist now.
This has been another program on Proudly We Hail, presented transcribed in cooperation with this station. Proudly We Hail is produced by the Recruiting Publicity Center for the United States Army and United States Air Force Recruiting Service. This is Kenneth Banghart speaking, and inviting you to tune in the same station next week for another interesting story on Proudly We Hail.
Petri Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and the New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petri family that took time to bring you good wine, invite you to listen to Dr. Watson tell us another exciting adventure he shared with his old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. And say, if you'd like to try a new adventure in good eating, will you just make sure that your dinner tomorrow night includes a bottle of Petri California Burgundy. Petri Burgundy is the ideal wine with any kind of meat or meat dish. That Petri Burgundy is a hearty red wine, just as rich in flavor as it is in color. It's the perfect companion to a thick, juicy steak or a piping hot pot roast or a good hamburger. You know, that Petri Burgundy has a happy faculty of turning a simple meal like, say, a hamburger sandwich into a feast. Believe me, here is a wine that's clear, fragrant, and delicious. A wine that you can serve to your friends proudly. Petri Burgundy. Remember, the name Petri is the proudest name in the history of America's wines. And now let's join our good friend, Dr. Watson.
I'm out here on the patio, Mr. Bartell.
Well, I see you're making the most of a wonderful evening, Doctor.
Oh, yes, my boy. It's pleasant to sit out here on a summer's night with a good friend and a pipe, a bottle of wine. Help yourself to a glass and sit down.
Well, thank you, sir. All ready with tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure, Doctor?
Yes, and a strange story it is. It was in the autumn of 1899, Mr. Bartell, that I decided both as doctor and friend that Sherlock Holmes was in desperate need of a holiday.
He'd really been overdoing it, huh?
Oh, yes, my boy. It had been an unusually busy year, and at the time my story begins, Holmes was suffering from complete exhaustion. So, my boy, towards the end of October in that year, we found ourselves in the charming city of Kazanlak, capital of the small Balkan kingdom of Grozny. A few nights after our arrival, I remember Pavlu Krasnodar, Groznian minister of police, took us to hear the singing of a certain young Hungarian opera star, Miss Lily Rayner, who was then touring Europe. At our table was her fiancé, the charming young aristocrat Prince Stefano. And it was very easy to see as he sat there listening to the song that the boy was head over heels in love. It was a haunting melody that she sang, Mr. Bartell. I can almost hear it now. You're a very lucky man, Prince Stefano. Your fiancée's voice matches her beauty.
Oh, yes, Dr. Watson. I consider myself the most fortunate man in Grozny. She has a magnificent voice, the finest singing I can recall since Elsewhere, Mr.
I was
Holmes?
thinking of a prima donna of the Warsaw Opera who attained considerable success in London. Miss Irene Adler.
Oh, by George, yes. She was a criminal, one of the few that outwitted you, Holmes. Oh, that was a case that would have interested you, Mr. Krasnodar.
I'm familiar with it, my dear doctor. You are unusually solemn tonight, Krasnodar. Have a glass of wine, and I will bring Lily to our table, and we will toast our happiness. I'm afraid I cannot drink to that toast, Prince Stefano. Why not? Oh, I know why. You, the notorious lady killer of Grozny, are jealous. You're in love with Lily yourself. Oh. Prince Stefano, I have sad news for you. I have come here tonight, but for one purpose. To arrest your fiancée.
Huh?
You're joking. It is far from a joke. At my ministry, we have evidence, conclusive evidence, that Miss Lily Rayner is a spy.
Spy? Good Lord.
And the penalty for spying in Grozny?
Ah, that, my friend, is why I would drink no toast. In Grozny, the penalty for espionage is death.
Yes, I know, but Holmes, you must do something to save that girl. You can't just turn in for the night without trying to help her in some way. They might shoot her in the morning.
Krasnodar's no fool. Since he's made the arrest, obviously he has a watertight case against the girl.
I suppose so.
One last pipe.
You know, Holmes, I couldn't understand her fiancé's behavior. He didn't do a thing. Just stood there and let Krasnodar arrest the girl.
What could he have done? Krasnodar is commissioner of police. There was no point in arguing with him until the evidence had been examined.
I imagine the prince will try and pull some political strings. After all, Grozny...
Come in.
Oh, who's this?
Oh, you wish to speak to me?
Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I've come to talk to you about my baby. My name is Martha Greggett.
Your baby? Mr. Holmes doesn't...
Oh, my baby, she is 20 years old, and she is flaxen-haired and beautiful.
Oh, that's an entirely different matter. We'll be delighted to help you, delighted. Sit down, won't you?
On whose behalf have you come to me?
Poor Lily Rayner.
Lily Rayner? Well, that's the girl who's arrested tonight.
I am only her dresser. And yet I'm Martha Greggett. I'm her mother and father. I have toured Europe with her ever since she left Vienna.
She sent you to me tonight, I suppose.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. She said you would understand.
What does she mean by that, I wonder?
She said that Mr. Holmes would take care that a talent like hers should not perish, just because she had broken a few laws.
In other words, she wishes me to establish her innocence in the same breath as she confesses her guilt. I'm afraid I don't take that sort of plant. Good night to you.
Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, I am glad that you came to my office this morning. I can show you the proof of Miss Lily Rayner's guilt. As distinguished foreigners, I should like you to know that though the penalty for political crimes is swift and severe, we are most careful that the incriminating evidence is beyond question. You see these letters?
Yeah.
We found them sewed into the bodies of her gown.
Oh, good gracious me.
They're a series of highly dangerous letters from Joseph, the leader of the Revolutionary Party with whom she is obviously hand in glove. Here, you may examine them if you wish.
It looks like Greek to me.
My knowledge of the Groznian language is far from perfect, but these letters certainly seem to incriminate their owner beyond doubt.
You will observe that the letters have followed her to each of the cities in which she has been singing. All of them ask questions as to the military garrisons and the chances of a successful revolution. She has been a dangerous spy.
Yes, I can see that, sir. But even so, isn't the death penalty excessively severe, particularly for a woman?
Dr. Watson, the Balkan states are a hotbed of European intrigue. Our penalties must be severe, and we cannot make concessions to the sex of a culprit.
The friend Joseph, the writer of these letters, have you been able to find any trace of him?
None. If only we could. But we have never even seen the man. However, we are fortunate to trap his assistant and apparently the lady of his choice.
Lady of his choice? But she was engaged to Prince Stefano.
Undoubtedly a blind. In her home, we found an unsigned love letter in English. It was in the same handwriting as these letters from Joseph.
Are you satisfied, Watson?
Well, I suppose.
Obviously she's guilty. Well, there's no place for me in this affair, particularly when you consider that she made a virtual confession in sending her dresser to me last night.
I suppose you're right, but just the same. If you were to trap this man Joseph, I should think you'd be wiser to hold the girl as a hostage. It might bring him on the scene if he's afraid she'll talk. If you hang, you'll never find him.
Dr. Watson, in my country we found that prompt justice gets the best results. And for your edification, we do not hang in Grozny.
No?
The death penalty is exacted at the hands of a firing squad.
And when is the execution to take place?
You have timed your visit well, my friends. Please to step onto the balcony.
Oh, dear.
I think that answers your question, Mr. Holmes.
Great Scott. Against the wall, blindfolded, with a firing squad before her. It's Lily Rayner.
Groznian justice indeed moves swiftly, Mr. Krasnodar.
It has to, my friend. Capitano! Hospital?
Oh, great heaven, I can't watch this. I don't care what she's done. I don't want to see it.
Up! Stone! Nurse! Up!
She's crumbled to the ground. Poor little thing.
What an artist.
Hard to see a woman executed even if she is a spy.
May all traitors to Grozny die as swiftly.
But what a loss. Her beautiful voice.
Yes, her beautiful voice. Shall we go in, gentlemen?
You know, Holmes, I can still see that poor girl as she crumbled before the firing squad.
So can I, old chap.
That's her song you're playing, isn't it?
Yes. The melody still haunts me. You blame me, don't you?
Oh, blame you for what?
For not preventing her death.
Oh, of course I don't blame you, Holmes. The girl was guilty. Groznian law prescribes the death penalty for her crime. After all, what could you have done about it?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And yet...
And yet what?
I wonder if she was right. I wonder if artistry such as hers isn't of greater value to humanity than spying in any cause.
It's not much good worrying about that now, is it? The girl's dead and buried.
Watson.
What's the matter, Holmes?
Did you hear that?
I hear what?
I could swear that I heard the dead girl's voice. She was singing a song to my accompaniment.
Oh, really? Your nurse must be in a very bad state, Holmes. Hearing voices indeed. You'd better turn in for the night.
Perhaps. Well, it may be more my conscience than my nerves.
I'll give you a sleeping draught if you like.
No, my dear Shepard. I'm all right. It's funny, though. I could have sworn that... Oh, well.
Play some more of that tune, will you, Holmes? Great heavens!
Uh-huh. You heard it this time, eh, Watson?
Of course I did. It was her voice. There's no mistaking it. Holmes, I don't believe in ghosts, and yet I could swear...
Listen.
Good Lord. It is her.
Do not let them go and punish the kill me.
Who are you? Where are you?
In the air about you. Avenge my death.
Strike a match,
Sherlock
Watson.
Holmes.
Strike a match. Light the gas.
Look. There in the moonlight, moving past the window. It's the figure of that girl that was shot to death.
A match, Watson. I'll go out the door.
There. Gas is lighted. She's vanished, Holmes.
And not by means of this door. We're standing in front of it. And there's no other exit from the room.
Holmes, I don't like this. We're dabbling in the supernatural.
Stop trembling, Watson. Whatever the explanation for this may be, one thing at least I find quite fascinating.
And what's that?
It's the first time in my career that I've ever had a ghost for a client.
Dr. Watson will tell us the rest of his story in just a second, so I'm just going to tell you about a wine that adds the perfect finishing touch to a good meal. Petri California Muscatel. With its sunshiny golden color and its full aroma, you just know Petri Muscatel is going to taste good. And it really does. Ah, the flavor of big, plump Muscat grapes picked when they're full to bursting with luscious juice. For the wine that everybody likes, serve Petri Muscatel. You know it's good if it's Petri. Well, Dr. Watson, so you had a ghostly visitor calling on you at the hotel that night, huh?
Yes, my boy, and I confess I was so badly shaken by the experience that I hardly slept a wink all night. Well, the next morning, after an early breakfast, Holmes and I located the proprietor of our hotel and began to question him as to the history of the building.
I've admired the architecture of this building ever since we came here. A house of this period would undoubtedly have been built with secret passages and staircases.
I confess that I know of one secret staircase there. There may well be others.
Indeed, and where's the one you know of?
Do you wish to explore it, gentlemen?
Oh, very much. My friend and I are most interested in such things.
Follow me, please. These stairs lead to our wine cellars. Thousands of feet have tramped up and down these steps. Only a select few know that behind this tapestry here... behind this tapestry, gentlemen, is apparently a solid wall. But the wall is not solid. You have a match, perhaps.
Oh, yes, of course. Here you are.
We keep a candle here in this niche for just such an occasion as this. So, please hold back tapestry, sir.
Oh, I've got it.
Thank you. Now, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth brick up from the stair. I press it so, and...
Look, Holmes. Great Scott, a section of the wall swinging up.
It's closing a stairway behind it. Ingenious.
There, gentlemen. Allow me to give you the candle.
But aren't you going to lead the way?
No, sir. I'm not going to lead the way, thank you. I have owned this hotel for 32 years, and yet I have never explored this stairway.
Why, sir? Is it reputed to be haunted?
Yes, it is supposed to be haunted. The candle, gentlemen.
Thank you. I'm much obliged to you. Come on, Watson.
I shall wait here.
I don't think I care for this, Holmes. Frightfully dark in here. Damp and mouldy, too.
Look, Watson. Look here.
Where?
This landing.
Landing? Well, nothing but dust and cobweb.
Closer, old chap. There's the faint imprint of a woman's heel here.
Huh. Oh, by George, yes. Shoes that have gone both up and down these stairs in the last 24 hours.
Exactly. And there's a reverse print over here. This, my dear chap, I think accounts for the appearance and disappearance of our visitor last night.
Yes, but Holmes, it was the singer, Lily Rayner. Yet we saw her shot yesterday morning.
Rubbish, Watson, rubbish. What have we to do with walking corpses? Come on, old fellow. Let's see where this stairway leads us to.
I know, but then what did we see if we didn't see a ghost last night?
That, my dear chap, is what we have to find out. Wait a minute. Staircase ends here. That's strange.
Yes, against a blank wall. That doesn't make sense.
And yet the entrance to this stairway was an apparent blank wall, too, remember? Let's see if the same formula will do the same trick here.
What was it? Oh, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, 4 bricks up from the step. I press so and... Open sesame!
The wall swinging back again.
What do we see? Another tapestry. A tapestry that seems very familiar.
Well, I should say so. This hidden door leads into your very own bedroom.
Exactly, my dear chap. Now we know beyond doubt how the apparent ghost made her appearance last night.
Don't you suppose it must have been someone impersonating the dead
That,
girl?
my dear fellow, is a question that can only be answered by calling on her fiancé, Prince Stefano. Let's go over and see him at once, shall we? Prince Stefano, I'd just like to intrude upon your personal tragedy, but I must ask you a few questions.
Ask your questions.
Did your fiancée have a sister who may have resembled her?
No. She had no living relatives at all, Mr. Holmes.
Well, tell me this. Who inherits her estate, sir?
Her dresser. A faithful old woman by the name of Patrick Leggett, who looked after her for some years.
I see. Did Miss Rayner have an understudy?
As a singer, she could have no understudy. She was irreplaceable.
You say as a singer. Was she also an actress?
Oh, but yes, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, really? How very unusual for an opera singer.
Quiet, Watson, please.
The first time I saw her was in Tosca. She was not another Berna, but her performance was a very promising one, considering her age. In my country, of course, she was not able to appear in anything but opera because she could not speak Russian.
She didn't speak Russian? Now I have the answer.
The answer?
Yes, to what?
To this entire story, from the arrest of your fiancée to certain strange visitations at my hotel last night.
What do you mean, Mr. Holmes?
If you come to my hotel room tonight, my dear Prince, I can safely promise to make the whole matter clear to you. And I dare go a little further. I think that I can even help you find consolation in your bereavement. Ladies and gentlemen, I can see that you wonder why Dr. Watson and I have asked you to come here to our hotel tonight.
As Minister of Police, I should be stupid if I did not realize that since your other two guests are the Prince Stefano and Martha Gregor, the dead girl's dresser, this meeting has some bearing on the execution of Miss Lily Rayner. I should prefer to say her murder.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you please, I should like to make my own position in this matter quite clear. 2 nights ago, you, Martha, came to me on behalf of Miss Lily Rayner to solicit my aid. I, convinced that she was guilty, refused that aid. Yesterday morning, she died before a firing squad. Last night, her ghost appeared to me here in this room and asked me to avenge her death.
Her ghost? What nonsense are you talking?
It would be no surprise to me if her poor murdered soul came back from the grave to ask for justice, sir.
I saw her, my good woman, almost as clearly as I see you all now.
I agree with Krasnodar. To talk of ghosts is beyond belief.
Please, let's finish. When I had this visitation last night, I decided to investigate the case thoroughly. I did so today, and I can assure you that Miss Rayner paid for a crime she did not commit.
What grounds do you have for saying that, Mr. Holmes?
The letters that were supposedly written to her were in the Grosnian language, and yet today Prince Stefano informed me that she could not appear in the theater here because she did not speak the language.
If those letters were sewed into her bodice, Holmes.
That's true, my dear fellow. And who was the only person who had the opportunity to do that? The same person who came to me 2 nights ago and succeeded in convincing me that Miss Rayner was guilty, her own dresser and supposed friend.
Are you suggesting that
I'm suggesting that you inherited her estate on her death, and that you would have lost that inheritance if she had married and had a family of her own.
What do you have to say in answer to that, Martha?
That I am among madmen. This talk of ghosts proves it.
Very well, then. Let the ghosts support my theories. Hand me the violin, will you, Watson, old fellow?
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you. Now, turn down the gas light.
Right, sure.
That's it. And listen.
Yes. That's her voice.
And that's her figure standing there in the moonlight. Even though she's dead.
Now what say, Martha? Aren't you responsible for her death? If a ghost can sing, I'm sure it can also talk.
I did do it. The letters belong to me. I sacrificed my own baby for gold. May heaven have mercy on my soul.
A confession in front of 4 witnesses. Why not take it away, Krasnodar? We'll testify later.
I will. Come with me, Martha.
I killed my own baby. I deserve to die.
Well, shall I turn up the gas, Holmes?
Ask Prince Stefano.
No. Do not turn it up. I've seen and heard the ghost of my beloved when the lights were down. I'm not afraid. Please play her melody again, Mr. Holmes.
Aren't you afraid, Prince Stefano?
Why should I be afraid? Lily, my beloved, your spirit I know can be no evil one. I love it. I love you living. The pleasure of love lasts but an instant. Love's regrets last for a lifetime. This is now my lifetime, brightened by your gracious ghost.
I'm sure this is a very touching scene, but it's getting dreadfully maudlin. All right, Miss Rayner. You may come from behind the tapestry now. Watson, old chap, turn up the gaslight. There's a good fellow.
Right, sure, Holmes.
Prince Stefano, permit me to reintroduce you to your far-from ghostly fiancée, Miss Lily Rayner.
Lily, my beloved, you are not dead.
No, I am not dead. Though I cannot see how Sherlock Holmes fathomed my secret.
And there, my dear young lady, you're in exactly the same boat as I am.
Surely the answer is obvious. You gave me the key yourself, Prince Stefano.
I did, but how, Mr. Holmes?
When you informed me that Miss Rayner had once played the title role in Tosca.
Tosca? What's that got to do with anything?
Consider the plot, Watson. A minister of police who is very susceptible to a lady's charms arranges a false execution. Knowing Mr. Krasnodar's weakness, Miss Rayner, you prevailed upon him to do likewise.
Well, then the whole execution was a piece of pantomime. The rifles must have contained blanks.
That's right, old fellow. And what should have heightened my suspicion, Miss Rayner, was the fact that At the moment of your apparent death, Mr. Krasnodar quoted a line from Tosca. He said, "What an artist." I was not perceptive enough at the time to evaluate the remark correctly, I'm afraid. When the simulated execution took place, you were free, but assumed dead.
But why should I indulge in such a trick, Mr. Holmes?
You reasoned that had you come to me directly, I might easily have turned you over as a fugitive from justice. And when you decided to dramatize the situation and appear last night as an apparent ghost, you knew it would, well, at the very least, stimulate my curiosity. It would cause me to investigate the matter and possibly to learn the truth and clear you from suspicion.
Well, yes, but Holmes, if she's innocent, how about the love letter in English, which was in the handwriting of Elusive, the revolutionary leader?
Well, I can see only one explanation for that. You, Prince Stefano, are that mysterious revolutionary Elusive.
Stefano? Oh, no, that is not possible.
Mr. Holmes, you're a visitor in my country. I do not suppose you will be staying here much longer.
Stefano, all these months you deceived me.
Silence, Lily. Gentlemen, I hope for your own sake you will not be staying here much longer.
Oh. I've been threatened by far more imposing adversaries than you, Prince Stefano. I suggest that you leave my room. It's none of my business dabbling in Groznian political affairs. Your secret is safe. In any case, I came to Grozny for a holiday. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Holmes.
On my soul, Holmes, if we were in London, you wouldn't behave in this offhand way.
But we're in Grozny, old chap, aren't we? Hand me the violin, will you?
All right, here you are.
Thanks. You know, Watson, I've only had professional dealings with two singers in my life. The first was Irene Adler, and she fooled me, oh, so cleverly.
And this singer tried to fool you and failed dismally. Seems to me the score's about even.
No, chap, no. This one was an amateur. Irene Adler will always be the woman. Well, I think that's enough excitement for one day, don't you? After all, I am supposed to be taking a holiday.
Doctor, that was a swell story. And I'll bet that you were a lot more interested in the beautiful Lily than your story tonight would have us believe.
Well, of course I'm interested in a beautiful woman. But then what man isn't?
Check.
But don't worry about me, Mr. Bartell. You know, being a family man, I just naturally associate a beautiful woman and home. And that makes me think of hospitality.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, according to you, I'm interested in home life. You're primarily interested in wine. Put us together, and we're interested in...
wine in the home.
Isn't that an important part of hospitality?
That I admit. But remember, my interest in wine is entirely an interest in good wine. In Petri wine, to be exact. Because I know all about Petri wine. I know that the Petri family has been making wine for generations. With the Petri family, the growing of perfect sun-ripened grapes and the art of turning those grapes into fragrant, delicious wine is a heritage. It's a heritage handed down from father to son, from father to son. The skills of those generations of winemaking are evident in every drop of Petri wine. The name Petri on a bottle of wine is more than a trademark. It's the personal assurance of the Petri family that Petri wine is always good wine. But you'll discover that for yourself. You'll learn that no matter what type wine you prefer, you'll like it better when it's a Petri wine. Because Petri took time to bring you good wine. Well, Dr. Watson, what new Sherlock Holmes adventure do you have lined up for us next week?
Next week, Mr. Bartell, I'm going to tell you a most unusual story. Sherlock Holmes crossed swords with a famous Frenchman and proved that although the English have been called a nation of shopkeepers, that a murder did not always prove to be a good bargain.
Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure was written by Dennis Payne and Anthony Boucher and was suggested by an incident in the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story, The Sussex Vampire. Music is by Dean Fossler. Mr. Rathbone appears through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and tonight Dr. Watson was played by Mr. Joe Kearns. who substituted for Mr. Nigel Bruce. Mr. Bruce is scheduled to return to the program next week. The Petri Wine Company of San Francisco, California, invites you to tune in again next week, same time, same station. Sherlock Holmes comes to you from our Hollywood studio. This is Harry Bartell saying goodnight for the Petri family. For a solid hour of exciting mystery dramas, listen every Monday on most of these same stations at 8 o'clock to Michael Shayne, followed immediately by Sherlock Holmes. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.